If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths, and sometimes heights, to ensure the power is always flowing. Which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Drama on a Friday with episodes of Escape from 77 years ago, Sunday, May 23rd, 1948. William Conrad in Leinengen versus the Ants. We'll also hear an episode of Counterspy from that date and the case of the Housing Racket. Then we'll go back to 1950, something we have only done a couple of times before in all our years of doing this. We'll have Edmond O'Brien in an episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, from 75 years ago, May 23rd, 1950. And then we'll have a program from Chicago, a local program, 5 after the hour, and it's entitled The Man Without a Face. And we'll wrap it all up with an episode of The Couple Next Door. That's all coming up on this Friday. This is the 23rd day of May, 143rd day of the year, 222 days remaining. Mexico declared war on the U.S. in 1846 in the Mexican-American War. President Warren G. Harding traveled to Hoboken, New Jersey on this date in 1921 as the remains of 5,212 American soldiers, sailors, and Marines and nurses killed in World War I were returned to the United States. The next day, his remarks on that event were recorded for posterity.
We never before sent so many to battle under the flag in a foreign land. Never before was there the impressive spectacle of thousands of dead returned to find eternal resting place in the beloved homeland.
At that time, live recordings weren't all that possible at those kind of events, so it's interesting that they recorded it on the following day so that we have a record of it. 1929, the first talking cartoon of Mickey Mouse, The Carnival Kid, was released. In 1934, bank robbers Bonnie and Clyde ambushed by police and they were killed in Black Lake, Louisiana. And the vehicle that they were killed in is on display in one of the casinos in Primm, Nevada, on the border between Nevada and California. And I want to say it's Buffalo Bills, but I'm not certain of that. But there are like 3 casinos there. It was at one of those casinos. I'll look it up in a minute and tell you for sure. Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, committed suicide on this date in 1945 while he was in Allied custody. Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, announced Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann had been captured. This was in 1960. And in 1969, rock band The Who released the first rock opera, Tommy. On Capitol Hill on this date in 1976, a secretary for Congressman Wayne Hayes of Ohio, a Democrat, claimed she was being paid to be his mistress. The 27-year-old Elizabeth Ray told the Washington Post she couldn't type, file, or answer the phone. Congressman Hayes, who had divorced his wife of 38 years and married his veteran Ohio office secretary shortly before the story broke, replied to reporters.
Let me say that my family and I are deeply disturbed about this, and I'm very much concerned about its effect on my wife of 6 weeks, for whom I have a deep love and affection. And let me say categorically that Miss Ray was never hired for any other purpose than to work from 9 to 5.
Hayes would later admit to many of the allegations, except that Ray was his mistress. He would end up resigning from Congress on September 1st of 1976. By the way, backing up, it turns out that I was right of the area the car was in, the death car today. It is in Primm, Nevada, but not at Buffalo Bills. It's at the Primm Valley Resort and Casino there, just south of Las Vegas near the California-Nevada state line. So if you need to stop for gas between L.A. and Las Vegas, you can go there and actually see the car. They've got other stuff along with the car, including other memorabilia and Clyde's blood-stained shirt. So if you're into that sort of thing, there's you that. Oh, it was on this date in 1983 an announcer for the English language service of Radio Moscow surprised the world and got himself fired. It seems that he said some things he wasn't supposed to. He praised anti-Soviet rebels in Afghanistan on the air and criticized Soviet policy.
Reports in Kabul say that tribes living in the eastern provinces, Nangarhar and Paktia, have joined the struggle against the Soviet invaders.
Radio Moscow broadcaster Vladimir Danchev, who did something that you shouldn't do. He criticized the Soviet government, and of course I'm surprised he was just fired. 1984, President Reagan praised William Casey, his embattled CIA director, in an appearance with Casey a day after a House subcommittee implicated Casey in the pirating of President Carter's briefing papers during the 1980 presidential campaign.
We found that over a dozen officials and aides in the Reagan-Bush campaign saw Carter briefing papers or actually used them, yet no one seems to know just how they got them. We do not find that believable. False statements to a congressional investigation are potential violations of federal law.
That was a Democrat from Michigan, Congressman Don Alabasta. Casey died of a brain tumor on May 6, 3 years later, May 6, 1987. He was 74 years of age. 1985, U.S. engineer Thomas Patrick Kavanaugh sentenced to life in prison for attempting to sell stealth bomber secrets to the Soviet Union. And the first run episode of Star Trek The Next Generation aired on this week in 1994, the first syndicated series to ever be nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Dramatic Series. It received a number of accolades, 19 Emmy Awards, 2 Hugo Awards, 5 Saturn Awards, and a Peabody Award. On this date in 1995 in Oklahoma City, what remained of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was imploded. Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating.
Once the smoke cleared and we can see that the symbol wasn't there, the agony was over, there was really almost a feeling of exhilaration that's behind us, it's over with, we can get rid of it.
In what I was reporting that day, back in 1995, when the Oklahoma City Federal Building was bombed, I have to tell you that a lot of what should have been known has still not been revealed to this day, or at least publicly. A lot of hush up there, if you know what I'm saying. World Wrestling Entertainment superstar Owen Hart fell to his death on this date in 1999 during the pay-per-view Over the Edge at Kemper Arena in Kansas City. He was supposed to be dropped into the ring on a harness on a long cable. Problem is, somebody screwed up, didn't get the cable connected correctly to the harness, and he fell. And that is why that the Hart family at least Owen's family doesn't have much to do with the WWE anymore. That's why All Elite Wrestling has the Owen Hart Memorial Classic Tournament every year, like is going on right now. The Boy Scouts of America on this date in 2013 voted to allow gay scouts.
It's a very difficult decision for a lot of people, but we're moving forward together.
Boy Scouts of America President Wayne Perry speaking after the vote.
We got another gunshot victim at 7-Eleven. Shots fired, shots fired.
7 people, including the perpetrator, killed, another 14 injured in a killing spree near the campus of the University of California, Santa Barbara, in this date in 2014. A year later, at least 46 people killed as a result of floods caused by a tornado in Texas and Oklahoma. And it was on this date in 2017, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao following the Islamic terrorist group, the Mautes, attack in Marawi. The Mautes were a terror group that was linked to Al-Qaeda. And they basically took over this little town. And I had a friend who was a teacher who was offered a job in that community in Marawi. She did not take the job. Afterwards, she was so thankful she did not. Passing away on this date in history, comedian Moms Mabley, Georgie Jessel, actor Sterling Hayden, pro wrestler Ray Candy, the Candyman, Owen Hart, as we mentioned earlier, the very, very funny Ann Mara, Roger Moore, and pro wrestler Hana Kimura. She is not known much in the United States. She did all of her work in Japan, and she's no longer with us because she committed suicide, cyberbullying, and she was just 22 years of age when she passed. Okay, among those others born on this date in history, we have Douglas Fairbanks Jr., the man called X, Herbert Marshall, the very, very funny Scatman Crothers, also clarinetist and band leader Artie Shaw, actress dancer Betty Garrett. He was Alf on Green Acres and Charlie on The Danny Thomas Show. Sid Melton, born on this date, as was singer Helen O'Connell. Singer, actress Rosemary Clooney. The inventor of the music synthesizer, Robert Moog, or at least a Moog synthesizer. And born on this date in 1987, Wyndham Rotunda, better known to wrestling fans as Bray Wyatt. He died in 2023 of a heart attack. He was just 36 years of age.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
She was Mrs. Barney Miller to Hal Linden on the Barney Miller Show. Barbara Berry, 94 years of age today. Joan Collins, still alive and causing trouble at 92 years of age. Kathy, on the television version of Father Knows Best, Lauren Chapin, is 80. The many albums of Dottie West's daughter, Shelley West, Red Hot, West by West, Shelley West, 69 years old today. Writer Mitch Albom is 67. The current Price is Right host, and did a lot of other stuff too. Drew Carey, 67. From Dumb and Dumber, Karen Duffy is 63. Jewel is 51 years old today, the wonderful singer. And a contestant and game show host, Ken Jennings, is 51.
What is Bangladesh? And that is correct.
His initial run on Jeopardy, he was on for 74 days. 74 straight wins, won $2.5 million just on Jeopardy. He appeared on a total of 5 different programs, won $4.5 million, the second highest earning American game show contestant, and that explains why he's on the other side of the mic now. At least now he's got a steady paycheck, don't you know? Ken Jennings, who has 2 kids and a wife they've been married to for over 20 years. That's good. Ken Jennings, 51 years old today. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 23rd day of May as their birthday. If this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
We roll on now on this Friday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox by going back to take a look at this date in history 77 years ago, May 23rd, 1948. We're going to start off with an episode of Escape, a very scary, scary show. William Conrad starring in Leinengen versus the Ants. That's next.
Civil defense is common sense. Hi, this is Tony Bennett. Make sure you're prepared if nuclear attack ever comes.
Preparation not just for enemy attack, but all sorts of emergencies. Be prepared for supply chain shortages, bad weather, earthquake, all sorts of stuff. We just posted a story today we're recording this show on May 9th. And I posted this on our local radio station Twitter account about what happened over in Spain and Portugal and how people there weren't prepared to be without hours for out of power for days. And the cell phone sites didn't have good battery backup and such. And the only way they got their information were battery-operated radios. So, being prepared is important. Okay, let's roll on here with this show on a Friday, 23rd day of May. We're going back 77 years to a Sunday, May 23rd, 1948. Escape. William Conrad in another one of his wonderful performances. Leinengen versus the Ants.
Escape!
You are located on a remote plantation in the crawling Amazon jungle, and an immense army of ravenous ants is closing in on you, swarming in to eat you alive. A deadly black army from which there is no escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, at the request of many of our listeners, we bring you a repeat performance of one of the most gripping escape stories. Tonight, we escape to the Amazon jungle and to a creeping, crawling terror, as Carl Stephenson told it in his famous story, Leinengen versus the Ants.
I first met Leinengen while performing my duty as district commissioner. As my boat neared his plantation landing, I saw him upon the riverbank regarding me with mild interest. A great hulk of a man with bristling gray hair, bulky nose, and pale eyes. His entire appearance somehow suggested an aging and shabby eagle. He escorted me to the terrace and had drinks brought. I came quickly to the point of my visit and issued my warning. Leinengen puffed placidly at a huge cigar and listened as I said, "And unless they alter their course, and there's no reason why they should, they'll reach your plantation in 2 days at the latest."
Uh-huh. Well, Commissioner, it was decent of you paddling all this way just to give me the tip. But a herd of crocodiles couldn't drive me from this plantation of mine.
No, you do not understand at all. These aren't creatures you can fight. They're an elemental force, a gigantic catastrophe. 10 miles long, 2 miles wide, ants, nothing but ants, and each one as big as your thumb. Unless you clear out at once, there'll be nothing left of you but a skeleton picked as clean as your own plantation will be.
I'm not an old woman, Commissioner. I'm not going to make a run for it just because trouble's on the way.
But it isn't just trouble.
And don't think I'm the kind of fathead who tries to beat off lightning with my fists, either. I've got a better weapon, Commissioner. Intelligence. With me, the brain isn't just a second appendix. I know what it's there for.
But can't I make you understand the hideous...
Commissioner, all my life I have lived by one motto. The human brain needs only to become fully aware of its power to conquer even the elements.
Leinengen, you are a madman. I've done my best. Your obstinacy is endangering not only your own life, but the lives of your 400 workers. You don't know these ants. I tell you, you do not know these ants. Leinengen merely sat there puffing at his cigar and regarding me with a sardonic grin, and I knew it was hopeless. As I boarded my launch and cast off, I turned to look once more at this madman who calmly intended to defy one of the world's greatest scourges. I felt a sudden resentment toward him, yet with it was something else. I had never met a man like that, and I could not help
on the bank of the river watching the commissioner's launch until it rounded a bend and was lost to sight. There was a strange look in the commissioner's eyes as he stood on the deck staring back at me. Clearly, he thought me insane. Well, he would not have been the first to think so. But I, Leinengen, knew my own powers. I was sure of myself. I knew that intelligence directed aright always makes man the master of his fate. That night, I called my 400 Indian workers together in the front of the plantation house. I saw their faces go ashen with terror as I told them the ants were coming. Watched them as they milled around muttering. I said nothing more to them. Finally, one of the men stepped forward. Bloss, the foreman.
We have worked hard here for these 3 years, all of us. We have built the finest plantation in this district. We all share in it. It has been a home for all of us and our families. Now the ants come.
So?
Those ditches we dug last year, the pipe we put in the ground, that was for the ants?
That was for the ants.
If we moved our families across the river, the ants could not reach them?
That's right. And you?
The ants are mighty. We know what they can do. All of us think that you are more mighty. We will stay with you and fight against the ants.
I knew that the men would give me that answer. I'd counted on it. Suddenly, I thought of the commissioner and wondered what he would say at such unquestioning confidence. Would he still think I was insane?
Oh, that night.
At least I knew he was not soon
out in my mind. One man who calmly evaluated his chances against a deadly menace, coolly decided he could win and was willing to stake his life on it, to risk a horrible death for it. It was terrifying, and yet it was fascinating. When dawn came, I sent for my assistant. Together we went to the huge map on the district which hung from a wall of my office. What was the last reported position of the ants?
Up here, about 70 miles above this fork in the river.
So, traveling southeast?
Yes.
Directly toward Leinengen.
Toward whom, sir?
That plantation at the bend in the river belongs to a man named Leinengen.
Oh.
When would you say the ants will reach there?
Well, I don't know. I imagine about tomorrow noon.
Tomorrow noon. Still time.
Still time? What do you mean?
Huh? Oh, nothing. Never mind. But what did I mean? Still time for what? For Leinengen to flee? Or still time for me to... Even as I rejected the thought with horror, I knew that the fascination of that man was more than I could resist. That Leinengen's flight was drawing my mind, drawing me back toward that plantation and death. I knew past all doubt that I was going back to Leinengen's plantation. I had to. 10 o'clock in the morning when I rounded the bend and saw Leinengen's plantation before me. I put into the dock and tied up the launch. Then I saw him standing on the bank above me, arms folded, stubby cigar in his mouth, and a sardonic grin on his face. I made my way up to him.
Ah, back for another warning, Commissioner?
No.
Back to stay a while?
Yes.
Nah.
You don't seem very surprised.
I'm not.
You expected me?
I thought you'd be back. Come along, we'll get some horses. You'll want to ride around the plantation, take a look at the defenses I've rigged up.
Yes, I will want to see the defenses.
And the ants. We'll be getting a glimpse of them before long, I should think.
Yes, and the ants.
Come along, then.
The defenses Leinengen had devised were quite impressive. Surrounding three sides of the plantation like a huge horseshoe was a 12-foot wide ditch. The end of this horseshoe-shaped ditch ran into the river, which formed the fourth side of the plantation. And at the upriver entrance to the ditch, Leinengen had constructed a dam by which river water could be diverted into the ditch. A large handwheel controlled the floodgate of the dam, and apparently Leinengen had ordered it opened immediately after my arrival. For as we now approached the ditch and rode along it, I could see that it was nearly full.
How do you like my first line of defense, Commissioner?
It's reassuring, like a moat around a castle.
Unless the ants know how to build rafts, they won't reach the plantation. But this is only the outer moat. There's a better one than this. Come along, we'll go up to the high ground where the buildings are and get a view from there.
Leinengen.
What?
I didn't see any women or children around the plantation, or any animals.
Yes, that's right. Move them across the river.
I might have known.
What?
Nothing.
Here we are. There, you see the ditch?
Much smaller than the other.
You've noticed how all the buildings are on this piece of high ground. This inner ditch surrounds them. It's lined with concrete.
But even filled with water, this is no barrier. It's not big enough. Why, if the ants get this far,
They'll get no farther. This ditch wasn't built for water, Commissioner. You see the pipes leading into it? See those storage tanks up on the hill there? Petrol. We can throw up a wall of flame. They won't like that.
Well, I hope you are right. Leinengen, look!
Huh?
Over the edge of the jungle, all those animals.
Yes. Running like the wind. Everything from jaguars to monkeys.
Good heavens.
Remember, they don't have any ditches.
But can they escape?
They'll be all right as long as they don't get caught between the river and the ants. They can outrun the crawlers. But if they get trapped, it's either the ants or the crocodiles.
Ooh.
Look, Commissioner. Look, over there on the horizon. There are your ants. Look at them.
It was a sight I will never forget. Over the range of hills as far as I could see crept a darkening hem, ever longer and broader, until the shadows spread across the entire slope, then downward, uncannily swift, and all the green herbage on the entire slope was being mown as by a giant sickle, leaving only the vast moving shadow extending, deepening, and moving rapidly near.
They're a hideous lot, aren't they?
Leinengen, we can't last against that. Look at them. Why, they could fill your ditches with their corpses and still have enough to destroy every one of us. We've got to run.
No. They haven't gotten to us yet. They never will.
The hostile army was approaching in perfect formation. No human battalions, however well drilled, could ever hope to rival the precision of that advance. Along the front that moved forward as uniformly as a straight line, the ants drew nearer and nearer to the water ditch. As they approached, two outlying wings of the army detached themselves from the main body and started marching along the sides of the ditch, no doubt expecting at some point to find a crossing. And during this hour-long flanking movement, the main army remained still. Across the scant 12 feet of ditch, I stared at them, and they stared back at me. A solid mass, everyone as big as my thumb, with a reddish-black body and long legs. Suddenly a sound so unearthly as to freeze our blood jerked our heads in the direction of the jungle on the far side of the ditch. Coming toward the ditch at a stumbling gallop was a stag, covered over and over with ants. Leinengen threw up his rifle, and the stag fell lifeless to the ground, its agonies at an end. Horrified as I was, my curiosity impelled me to glance at my watch. I had to know how long the ants would take. After 6 minutes, only the white, polished bones of the stag remained. Leinengen and I exchanged glances, and I could see a change in him. Gone was the sporting zest of the novel contest. In its place was a cold, violent purpose to send these vermin back to the hell where they belonged. If he did not, we were both only too sure of the alternative. And now we even knew how long it would take the ants once they got to us. Around 4 in the afternoon, the ant scouts having found no crossing, there was a stirring among the main army. And then an immense flood of ants, a glimmering black cataract, about 100 yards in width, commenced pouring down the far slope of the ditch. Thousands drowned instantly, but the rest began using the bodies as bridges. Leinengen immediately swung into action.
Can I help? Get to the dam, open the floodgate more to get the water in the ditch moving faster.
Senor.
This looks like the spot for action. Commissioner.
Yes?
Beginning to see what I was talking about?
What do you mean?
About intelligence being more than a match for anything it tackles. Take the ants. They've got no intelligence. If they had, they'd have attacked along the whole length of the ditch instead of a narrow front like this. They'd have been across by now. There. Too bad for them. I'm not running their campaign for them.
You can joke about it like that with the ants halfway across the ditch?
All right, man. Busy with the shovels now. Dump some sand and clods on them and see how they like that. You with the petrol sprinklers. Start pumping. I don't like it, Commissioner. I don't like it a bit. Look at them.
Yes, but look at the ones on the far side of the ditch. Whole clumps of them rolling into the water. The rest are using them for bridges.
Commissioner, the water's moving faster now.
Tanayo got the floodgates open.
Yes. Look at the ants. They can't hold their own against the current now. They're being washed away. Look at them, Commissioner. The water's carrying them away. We've beat them. We've won out. It was true. Leinengen had won at least the opening round. The floodgates were left open to forestall any night crossing. I suppose I hoped that the ants would go on, pass us by. But when dawn came, the dark blanket was still there, motionless, across the ditch. Then we noticed a feverish activity on the other side of the plantation. Here a grove of tamarind trees lined the far end of the ditch, and every tree swarmed with the crawling insects. But instead of eating the leaves, they were merely gnawing through the stems so that a thick green shower fell steadily to the ground. Well, it looks as if it's feeding time for our friends, eh? Yes. Blas.
Senor.
Have all the petrol pumps brought here and get everyone over here except the lookouts on the other side and then pass out the shovels.
Yes, senor.
Looks like I underestimated them when I said they didn't have intelligence.
What do you mean?
I said if they wanted to get across, they'd have to have rats. That's just what they've got. Those leaves are their rats.
Even as he spoke, the leaves went tumbling down the far bank by the thousands. The current drew them away from the bank, and each leaf carried several ants.
Don't worry. As long as you keep spraying them and shoveling dirt on the rats, they can't land.
But there will be too many.
It's true. Look, more leaves in the ditch all the time. Why, they'll have a solid carpet to walk across in a minute.
Not so fast, Commissioner. I've still got a trick up my sleeve for them.
The water! The ditch is drying up.
Of course it's drying up. That's the plan. Those are the orders I sent to the dam.
Are you mad? As soon as it's empty, what's to prevent the ants? Look, The water's way down. It's almost dry. They'll be able to climb across the bottom.
They'll not make it if the man at the dam carries out his orders. He should have opened the gates again by now.
To flood the ants?
Right.
But what a chance to take. If anything should happen.
Aha! Commissioner, here it comes. Here comes the water. Now we'll give the crawlers a ditch a good ride. Out into the river. Look at them. Look at them go.
Leinengen's tactics were successful at first. The violent flow of water at the original depth raced through the ditch, overwhelming leaves and ants and sweeping them along. 3 times the ditch was emptied, 3 times the ants raced across its bottom, and 3 times the rushing water arriving just in time carried them away. But the 4th time, as the water lowered nearly to the bottom of the ditch, we waited in vain for the rushing waters, and then... Senor!
What's the matter? What's gone wrong at the dam?
The ants. Just as the man at the dam lowered the water almost to the bottom, the ants attacked. Before he could open the floodgate, he was almost surrounded. The ants ran, and he ran after. They had across the ditch. Leinengen stood motionless, absorbing the news of his defeat without a word. Then, simply, he raised his pistol and fired 3 shots into the air. The prearranged signal for all men to retreat instantly to the second line of defense, the concrete ditches more than a mile from the point of invasion. Soon after we arrived there, the natives commenced straggling in silently. Leinengen waited until all of them had gathered, then he spoke to them.
Well, lads, we won the first round, lost the second, but we'll smash the crawlers yet. Anyone who thinks otherwise can draw his pay and push off. There are rafts enough on the river and plenty of time still to reach them. You'll stay then. Good. Thank you, lads. And you, Commissioner?
I can't persuade you to give up the fight.
You cannot.
Then I stay too.
Yeah, I knew you.
Senor! A few of the ants have reached the ditch.
They're trying to get across?
No, senor.
I didn't think they would. There's plenty of food out there for them. Crops I've spent 3 years in raising. Ought to last them until morning, anyway.
Yes, we were safe for the moment. But the next morning, the black swarm was solid around us, and their shock troops were hard at work. They were dropping shreds of bark and twigs and leaves into the petrol-filled ditches, forming a floating bridge across the surface of the liquid. Leinengen stood silently watching this operation, and I could see a grudging admiration on his face. Then, after several hours, the attack came. Down the ditch they poured, millions of them, and across the bridge of twigs rapidly approached the inner side. Leinengen sat motionless, watching them. Leinengen, for the love of God, don't sit there like a statue. They'll be on us in a moment.
Let them fill it first. Now. All right. Everyone back from the ditch. Blas, hand me the torch. Now we'll see how our friends like a little heat around them.
The flames from the ditch shot up into the air, devouring ants by the millions. But as they returned to the assault time after time, a slow, sickening horror crept into my mind. I looked quickly at Leinengen, then at the petrol tanks. He read my gaze and nodded slowly.
That's right, Commissioner. We could hold them off forever if our supply of petrol was unlimited, but it isn't. We've got only enough to fill the ditch once more.
Leinengen, isn't there any way at all? We've got to do something.
Yes, I know. There must be a way. There must be something on Earth that'll drive this devil's spawn back to the hell they came from. Yes, them. Yes.
What is it?
We'll flood the whole plantation.
Flood? But how?
The river's higher than any point except this high ground we're on now. The river was dammed all the way. It would overflow that stone breakwater and flood the whole plantation. We've got to close the floodgate at the dam. That'll do it.
You're mad. The dam is nearly 2 miles away. 2 miles of ants.
Lads, listen to me. Listen, lads. I'm proud of you. Now there's still a chance. By shutting the floodgates and the dam and flooding the whole plantation from the river. The moment I'm over the ditch, set fire to it. That'll allow time for the flood to wash away the ants. Then all you have to do is wait for me.
It's impossible. You can't get to the dam, let alone get back.
That's why you're wrong, Commissioner. I'll get there and I'll get back. Take care of things while I'm gone.
I watched him as he calmly pulled on high leather boots, drew gauntlets over his hands, and stuffed the spaces between breeches and boots, gauntlets and arms with petrol-soaked rags. He shielded his eyes with close-fitting mosquito goggles and plugged his nostrils and ears with cotton. Then the natives drenched his clothes with petrol. Blas, who acted as doctor to the men, smeared a salve over him, and finally, Leinengen was ready. And as he stood calmly surveying
the ditch ready for the run, I realized this was as it should be. I, Leinengen, would meet the ants and defeat them, or be defeated by them. No, Leinengen versus the ants. Yes, it was right that it should be like this. But now there was no more time for thought, only action. I took a deep breath, and then bounded across the ditch and among the ants. I ran in long, equal strides with one thought, one sensation in my being. I must get through. I dodged all trees and shrubs, and except for the split second my soles touched the ground, the ants had no opportunity to alight on me. I ran on. I was halfway to the dam before I felt ants under my clothes and a few on my face. I struck at them mechanically, scarcely conscious of their bites, and the dam drew toward me slowly. The distance grew less and less. Finally, only 100 yards away. Then 50. Then I was there. I gripped the ant-covered wheel, but hardly had I seized it when a horde of ants flowed over my hands and arms. I strained, and slowly the wheel turned. It turned more. And the floodgate was swinging slowly shut, and then it was shut. The water was rising behind the breakwater, closer to the top, closer. And then it was spilling over. The flooding of the plantation had begun. I let go of the wheel, and for the first time I realized I was coated from head to foot with the fiends. Tongues of fire stabbed at me as they bit into my flesh. I almost lost my head with the pain as I ran, knocking ants from my body, brushing them from my bloody face. And then one bit me just below the rim of my goggles. I managed to tear it away, but the agony of the bite and its venom drilled into the eye nerves. I saw now through circles of fire into a milky mist. I was almost blinded, but I knew that if I tripped and fell... I ran on, my heart pounding as if it would burst, blood roaring in my ears, a giant's fist battering my lungs. And then I could see dimly that wall of flame at the ditch, but it was too far away. I could not last half that distance. I stumbled. I fell. Felt myself being swarmed over, devoured. I tried to rise. A great weight. And then suddenly the vision of the half-devoured stag in my brain. 6 minutes. Then nothing but bones. I couldn't let that happen to me. I couldn't die like that. To my feet. My feet dragged myself over toward the flame. The ditch. The ring of flame closer down. A little farther. 10 steps. 8.
We had waited for hours when all at once through the blazing ring around us, an apparition hurtled and fell full length on the ground. It was Leinengen, alive with ants, unconscious, with blazing eyes and lacerated face. We rushed to him, stripped off his clothes, and tore at the ants that covered him. His body seemed almost one open wound. In one place, I could see a white bone. Later, as the curtain of flame lowered, I looked out where that blanket of ant had been and saw only a vast expanse of water covering the entire plantation and working its way to within a few feet of the concrete ditch. The ants were gone, drowned, and Leinengen had won. Leinengen lay on his bed, his body swathed from head to foot with bandages, but alive.
Everything in order.
They are gone.
I told you I'd come back, even if I am a bit streamlined.
He grinned and shut his eyes. He slept.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, and tonight brought you Leinengen versus the Ants by Carl Stephenson, adapted for radio by Robert Reif, with Bill Conrad as Leinengen and Jay Novello as the Commissioner. Music was conceived by Cy Feuer and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Next week.
You are stealthily stalking into a silent desert fortress, walking into what you know may be a trap. Around you stand a legion of dead men, and over you hangs a menace unseen but felt, a menace from which you cannot escape.
Next week, we escape with Percival Wren's immortal story, Beau Geste. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Sundays on CBS was not the powerhouse in 1948 that it would be just a year or so later when Jack Benny moved from NBC to CBS. At that time, on CBS, you had the Gene Autry Show at 7, Blondie at 7:30, Sam Spade at 8 o'clock, The Man Called X at 8:30, Catch Me If You Can at 9, Strike It Rich at 9:30, and then at 10 o'clock, you had Mickey Rooney's short-lived show, Shorty Bell, and then Escape at 10:30. Not the powerhouse lineup that they had over on NBC, because you had the 1 hour long Ford Theater at 5, you had the Catholic Hour at 6, Hollywood Star Preview at 6:30, then the big guns came out with Jack Benny at 7, Phil Harris, Alice Faye at 7:30, Charlie McCarthy at 8, Fred Allen at 8:30, and then the Manhattan Merry-Go-Round at 9 o'clock. So it was a big night. We'll go to ABC in a little bit here, but that was from Escape from the 23rd day of May, 1948. Leinengen versus the Ants. A very, very powerful show. A little frightening, too. All right, before we go to Counterspy, it was over on ABC at the time, we'll have a look at the news of that day 77 years ago in a moment.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Fred McMurray. Home shelters can be built for as little as $100. Simple plans for building inexpensive home shelters are available free from your civil defense office. Ask for a copy of the Family Fallout Shelter booklet.
And on this Friday edition of the podcast, we're taking a look at a couple of shows from 77 years ago today, Sunday, May 23rd, 1948. As is our tradition, let's take a look at some of the headlines. Governor Thomas E. Dewey stopped Harold Stassen in Oregon Saturday, a major setback for the Minnesota contender for the Republican presidential nomination. It gave the New York governor 12 GOP delegates pledged to support him at the convention. Stassen conceded his defeat in Minneapolis as tabulations of Friday's Oregon primary balloting continued to maintain Dewey's margin at around 6,000 votes. With 82% of the precincts reported as counting stopped for the night, Dewey's lead had increased to 6,621 votes. The tally, 9,200 for Dewey. Stassen at 92,000. Stassen at 85,000. 1,530 of the state's 1,861 precincts had reported in. Now, the possibility of larger meat supplies at lower retail prices cheered housewives Saturday as CIO meat handlers prepared for a return to work in most packing plants throughout the nation coming up on Monday. Sources in the meatpacking industry said settlement of the 67-day-old strike against 3 of the big 4 meat packers on Friday would probably result in a spurt of livestock receipts for 2 or 3 weeks. Bigger receipts, they said, probably will be reflected in lower retail prices. The strike ended against Swift, Armour, and Cudahy on the basis of a 9-cent an hour wage increase offer the CIO Packing House Workers Union previously had rejected. They wanted 29 cents. The CIO United Auto Workers Saturday accused Chrysler of planning to use foremen and office workers as strikebreakers Monday and hinted that plan might lead to violence in Detroit. Norman Matthews, leader of the UAW's 11-day Saturday Chrysler strike, made the charge when informed the 2 non-striking groups would be used next week to take inventory, a task normally assigned to UAW members. 6-year-old Johnny Gilly, who lost his legs beneath the wheels of a freight train, is back home from the hospital in Philadelphia, full of dreams for the present and the future. First dream concerns the present. Johnny wants a pony. Someone's question to Johnny was, "Could you ride it?" And Johnny answered, "Just try me." Second dream, which concerns Johnny's future, was born while the little boy was in St. Luke's and Children's Medical Center, where he was taken after the accident on March 12th when he lost his legs. He said now he wants to be a doctor. He said, "I saw the doctors at the hospital, and that's what I want to be." Egyptian mobile forces Saturday night reached Bethlehem, only 5 miles from the embattled city of Jerusalem, where the Arab League had Jewish defenders bottled in the old walled city. The arrival of the Egyptian troops in Bethlehem, announced in an Egyptian communique, which also said a mobile column was pushing northward along the Mediterranean force. The force in Bethlehem apparently going to join up with the Transjordan Arab League in the battle for Jerusalem. All congressional plans for drafting 18-year-old youths were reportedly junked on Saturday. A member of the Senate Armed Services Committee said 12 of its 13 members have agreed to revise its selective service bill to strip out the section calling for 1 year of compulsory military training for 161,000 of the 18-year-olds. The Republican chairman of the committee, Gurney from South Dakota, refused to comment, but it was learned that he had been checking the committee members on this point. Under the new proposal, 18-year-olds will be allowed to volunteer for 1 year of service. TASS, the official Russian news agency, Saturday night blamed the U.S. for the UN's failure to control and reduce armaments. It issued a lengthy statement through the Soviet monitor in London, presenting what it called the position of leading Soviet circles. The French are planning to send a friendship train to the U.S. Packages for each of the 48 states will be perfume, wine, brandy, leather goods, lace, silk, and fine crystal. The train will be a gesture of gratitude of the 5 million members of the war veterans of the state railways for the friendship train of food and clothing from America. Asked what they would do about sending alcohol to dry states, the sponsors exclaimed, "What? We thought prohibition had been abolished across all of America." Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Sunday, May 23rd, 1948. On your radio up next, over on ABC, David Harding, Counterspy.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Joni James. After nuclear attack, while radioactive fallout will be a potential threat to every living thing. You can't hear, or smell, or taste fallout. Often you can't see it, so you must take shelter and stay there until told it's safe to leave.
I swear, listening to Joni James read that public service announcement, she had to have been scared to death. But that happens. All right, we continue now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with our final show from Sunday, May 23rd, 1948. It was an ABC show, Counterspy, that aired at 5:30 Eastern Time. on that Sunday, and the episode is entitled The Case of the Housing Racket.
David Harding, Counterspy, presented by the makers of Old Nick and Bitter Honey candy bars. And today we're happy to be able to repeat a special money-saving offer for all you folks who enjoy Old Nick and Bitter Honey candy bars.
We offer a 13-inch stainless steel slicing knife, guaranteed to equal knives selling at 75 cents to $1.
Sent to you for only 25 cents in coin, with 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bitter Honey candy bars. Here's where to send your order. Send to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York.
We'll repeat this address later, so have a pencil and paper ready to get the address correct.
And listen later for complete details.
Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington, calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
David Harding, Chief, United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad, and to secure for every American the rights which are his under our Constitution.
Honey,
Andy, I didn't expect you to come home.
well, I couldn't do any work after you called and told me about Kathy. How is she?
The doctor's still with her. Andy, he thinks it might be pneumonia.
Well, how did she look?
Feverish. She was whimpering when the doctor came. You feel so powerless when they're so young. They can't tell you what hurts, what's wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Andy, she'll be all right, won't she?
Of course she will, darling. Now, why don't you rest for a while? You didn't sleep at all last night.
Oh, neither did you.
Well, let's not argue the point.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gorham.
Oh, hello, Doctor.
Oh, you didn't have to come home from work.
I called him, Doctor.
I wanted to. The baby's... Well, how is she, Doctor?
Oh, she's holding her own, Mr. Gorham. I'd like to order a portable oxygen tent just as a precaution.
Well, order whatever you need.
It may be a little expensive.
Doc, it doesn't matter.
I know. I just wanted to keep everything straight. Now, is there another room in the house that we could move her to?
Well, sure.
Well, what do you want to move her for, Doctor?
Well, I'd like a place that isn't quite as damp and drafty.
Oh.
That's the driest room we have except for the kitchen.
Oh, I see. Well, we'll manage all right.
This whole place drips water 3 days after every rain.
Really? I thought these houses were just built.
They were, but not very well.
Oh. Well, don't longer. We'll move her to the hospital.
Yeah, sure. Say, tell me, Doctor, this house has been damp and drafty from almost the first month we moved in. Could living here have caused Kathy's pneumonia?
Well, now, I wouldn't like to be pinned down as to the cause, but... Well, I'd certainly say that living here hasn't helped to avoid it.
I see.
Well, Kathy will get better, won't she?
Yes, but...
But what, Doctor?
Well, if you can manage it, I think she should get out of this climate for a while. I should suggest the South for a month or two.
The South?
Thanks, Doctor. We'll take your advice.
Andy,
We'll talk it over, Edie.
Well, now, I'll get back to my patient.
Andy, we can't afford a trip south at this time.
You bet we can.
Oh, where will the money come from?
From this dream house we bought. We're not going to make any more payments on it. We'll use the money to send you and Kathy south for a while.
Yes, but what about the money we've already put into the house?
Well, I'll think of something.
Oh, darling, we can't afford to lose all that.
Can we afford to lose Kathy?
Andy.
I'm sorry, honey. I shouldn't have said that. I just don't want you to worry about anything except her.
If we're not going to give Mr. Hobbs any more money, what will we do when we get the mortgage statement?
I'm not sure, darling, but that's not your worry.
All right, Andy.
Now, you start planning for that trip south. The minute the doctor says okay, you and Kathy go.
Andy, you didn't have to get a room yet on the train. We could have gone by day coach.
Edie, it's already paid for. Don't fret about it. Enjoy it.
All right.
Kathy looks good, doesn't she?
Oh, I hope she takes the trip all right.
Well, she's starting off okay. Sleeping like a log on that seat.
Oh, this has been a lot of excitement for a 1-year-old.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, darling, I wish you could go with us.
So do I. Somebody has to work.
What are you doing about the mortgage payments, Andy?
Well, I've been talking to some of our neighbors in the development, and they've been stuck just like we have.
Uh-huh.
Together, we may work something out.
Oh, don't get into any trouble, Andy.
I won't, darling. But don't you worry about it. Just have a good time. Well, now I'd better get off this train, or I'll be going with you.
Goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye, darling. Mr. Bradley? Andy Gorham. Yes. Can you come over to my place tonight about 8 o'clock? Yeah, that's right. See what we can do about these salt boxes that were sold to us as houses. Good. I'll expect you. Harold? Andy. 8 tonight okay for you? Yeah, my place. Right. Be seeing you. Tommy? Andy. We're going to meet here tonight. Count on you? Good. 8 o'clock. Bye. I know some of us here paid a little more for our houses than the rest of us. A larger house or more land. But whatever you paid, I think we're all agreed that it was too much for what we got.
No question about that.
Now, our individual complaints are pretty similar. Green wood, flooded cellars, crumbling foundations, poor flashings, bad drainage. Well, you know them as well as I do.
Perhaps better, Andy.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But the point is, the majority of them can be repaired.
At whose expense?
Yeah, I don't want to sink any more money into my house.
You won't have to, Tommy. At least I hope not.
And who will, Mr. Gorham?
If we all stick together, Mr. Bradley, I think we can make the Oak Nub Real Estate Company bear the expense.
What?
You've been drinking, Andy?
No, I'm serious.
It's a nice dream.
Yeah, but that's all it is. Mr. Hobbs of the real estate company has only one interest in these houses now. It's not repairing them, it's collecting on the mortgages.
Right, Tommy. And that's our weapon. We refuse to pay those mortgages.
What?
Until steps are taken to remedy our complaints.
What about foreclosure?
Well, that is a possibility, Mr. Bradley, and we should face it. But if we all stick together, I doubt that Mr. Hobbs will foreclose on 45 houses at once.
It would certainly be bad publicity if he did.
Whether or not that will bother him, I don't know. But not getting his money will.
Can we get in trouble, though?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure. I think we should get legal advice and keep the whole affair above board.
Well, how'd you go about it, Mr. Gorham?
Well, I believe we should draw up a statement of what we intend to do and why. Then send copies of it to the government housing authorities, the Veterans Administration, and any other federal and state agencies concerned, just to get ourselves on the record.
It's a good idea.
Very sound.
Now, after that, we pool our monthly mortgage statements and appoint one man to present them to Mr. Hobbs, to tell him that they won't be paid until our homes are made habitable and worth the purchase price agreed on. Now, that's the whole idea. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's certainly better than just putting up with paying for these cracker boxes.
I'll go along with it.
I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Bradley.
Count me in.
And I'll make the first motion of this informal association, that Andy Gorham be the man we appoint to talk to Mr. Clifford Hobbs. Huh?
All right, I will. And I'll do my best to get more out of him than just conversation.
Counterspy headquarters. Yes, Mr. Secretary, I'll connect you. Counterspy headquarters. Busy. Hold on, please. Yes, Mr. Harding.
Mr. Peters, please.
Mr. Peters, thank you.
Peters, you come into my office for a minute, Peters. Okay, Chief. And bring a copy of that memorandum from the Veterans Administration. Which one? That letter from the ex-GIs who are refusing to honor their mortgage statements. Oh, yes. Be right in, Chief.
What do you think about it, Peter? Well, from the way they describe their houses, Chief, I sympathize with them, but I don't see that there's anything we can do.
Or we could conduct an investigation.
Of what? There's no visible cause for criminal proceedings.
Yes, I know. Still, 2 agencies have already called asking us to investigate.
Oh?
The Federal Housing Administration and the National Association of Home Builders.
Association of Home Builders? That's a private builder's outfit, isn't it?
Yes, reputable builders in all large cities.
What's their interest in this?
Well, a story like this is bound to get publicity. The public will read that publicity, and they'll cast all contractors and home builders in the same role as this Oak Nub Realty Company. They won't differentiate.
So the National Association wants to get on record as opposing these practices?
That's it.
And the FHA?
They don't think any outfit that can stir up as much resentment as this company did could be completely legitimate.
Then we do investigate.
I think we should, Peters. I want you to assign 2 agents to check the company's incorporation papers and any other related documents of public record.
Right, Chief.
Also get train reservations for us to Asheville. We'll question this man who signed this letter for the veterans, this Andrew Gorham.
Back to our Old Nick David Harding counterspy case in a moment. Now, I want to tell you folks how you can get one of the most useful knives you've ever had in your home at a fraction of the price you'd expect to pay. It's a handy, helpful slicing knife, nearly 13 inches long, with a blade of gleaming lifetime stainless steel. And notice this especially. The blade is hollow ground. Now, if you know knives, you know that hollow grinding makes for a longer-lasting, keener edge. And you know it's a process which is usually found only in knives costing $2 or more. Yet, you can get this knife for only 25 cents, with 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bit of Honey candy bars. Yes, to get your stainless steel slicing knife, just send 25 cents in coin with 2 Old Nick or Bit of Honey wrappers to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York.
Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York.
We can make this offer only because we have a special arrangement with a famous cutlery manufacturer. He is the only one in the country who has this new secret process by which long-lasting stainless steel can be successfully hollow ground. We guarantee that this stainless steel slicing knife would compare favorably with knives costing 75 cents to $1, even without the special process hollow grinding. But hollow grinding gives this knife longer life, a keener edge, and greater usefulness. So when you send in, you're really getting extra value, an outstanding bargain buy. But remember the address, Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York. For each stainless steel slicing knife you want, send us 2 wrappers from either Old Nick or Bit of Honey candy bars and 25 cents in coin. The offer may be withdrawn at any time because the supply is limited. So be sure of your quick-cut slicing knife. Send your order today. Now, back to our Old Nick David Harding counterspy case.
Let's drop the act, Mr. Hobbs. You know perfectly well that not a single one of us is satisfied with this house.
I hope you didn't come in here just to argue.
No, Mr. Hobbs, I didn't. I came in to give you these. Here.
What are they?
A mortgage statement you mailed out a few days ago. All 45 of them.
What?
And until you do something about the condition of the Oak Nub homes, that's all you're going to get every month. Your statement's back again.
I'm not sure I understand.
It's simple enough, Mr. Hobbs. You either take care of the complaints we made about the houses, or we refuse to pay for them.
You can't do that. I'll foreclose on you.
If you'd like to make 45 foreclosures with the publicity that would result, go ahead.
I'll take you to court.
That may do some good. We'll find out in court.
Now, look here, Gorham. Isn't there some way we can get together on this thing?
Yes.
How?
Start repairs on the houses. All 45 of them.
Now, look. I can't spend the company's money on my own say-so. I've got investors and stockholders to think of.
And we've got families to think of. We paid for decent places to live, and we want them.
Now, why don't you be sensible about this, Gorham?
Just what do you consider sensible?
Well, you made a lot of complaints about your house. Suppose I take care of those complaints.
And the other houses in the development?
Forget them. Worry about yourself.
Well, that's an attractive offer.
I know a smart man when I see one.
Thanks. And I assure you I'm smart enough to know why you're making this offer.
What do you mean?
You're not impressed by me. You're impressed by the fact that I'm representing all of the homes you hold mortgages on. Well, I intend to keep it that way, since our only strength is in sticking together.
Now, Gorham, don't be a fool. I'll make my offer even more attractive. You listen to a deal.
Mr. Hobbs, the only deal I'll make will involve all 45 homeowners. When you're ready to talk one like that, call me up. Until then, you can whistle for your money. Goodbye.
Not a bad-looking house on the surface, Chief.
Take a closer look, Peters. Some of those clapboards up there are warped.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yes? Mr. Andrew Gorham? That's right. My name is David Harding. This is Mr. Harry Peters. How do you do? Oh, what can I do for you? Our credentials. from the United States Counterspies.
Oh, come in.
Thank you. I imagine you know why we're here.
Yes, I think so. Well, won't you sit down? Or isn't that the customary procedure before an arrest?
Arrest? Oh, I think you've got us wrong, Mr. Gorham. We're here just to ask questions.
Oh, well, go right ahead. We want to stay within the law.
Well, Mr. Gorham, what do you expect to gain by this?
Decent homes in good repair.
You weren't forced into buying this house, were you?
No, I know, Mr. Harding. Caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. But in a tight market like housing, I think the seller should have some responsibility for what he sells.
You've got a point there.
When did you notice defects beginning to show up in your homes, Mr. Gorham?
4 or 5 months after they were built.
You notified the building company?
Yes, but they didn't pay any attention until we all got together.
Oh? You're getting results then?
Well, not exactly results, but we've made Mr. Hobbs of the Oak Nub Company rather unhappy.
I should imagine he would be.
He offered to fix up my house and possibly throw in a little money if I'd forget the whole affair.
Just your house, not the others?
That's right.
Sounds a little off-key, doesn't it, Chief?
Yeah.
I thought so, too.
If it were only faulty construction, Hobbs could take the case to civil court and make some kind of an adjustment that would be fair all around.
Yes, if he's an honest man.
Well, I know of nothing that could prove he isn't.
Well, I don't think a man who's on the level would have tried to buy you off.
I agree, Mr. Peters.
Mr. Gorham, what did you pay for this house?
$10,500.
Are all the houses in the development the same price?
No, they run from $9,500 to $12,500.
I see. Well, I'd like to run tests of the structural defects in a few of these homes, have a responsible builder look them over. Do you think that'd be all right with your neighbors?
I'm sure it would, Mr. Harding. We'll agree to anything to get some action.
You set that up, will you, Peters?
Right, Chief.
And, Mr. Gorham, if Mr. Hobbs should get in touch with you with another personal offer, let me know.
All right, Mr. Harding.
I can't guarantee results, but I can guarantee you that we'll make a thorough investigation of this whole affair.
Hello, Barney.
Oh, Hobbs.
Mr. Mankato up yet?
Yeah, he's having breakfast in bed.
Well, I have to see him right away.
He won't like that.
Neither do I, but there's a little trouble.
Trouble? I thought this setup was strictly legitimate.
Well, things go wrong.
And we put them right.
And I hope you can.
What is it, Barney? Who was it?
Hobbs, he wants to see you.
I'm sorry to disturb you at this time, Mr. Mankato.
Okay, you did. Now, what's on your mind? You got a simple job? There ought to be no problems.
I'm afraid there are, though.
What's so hard about collecting the mortgages I hold?
Simply, they won't pay.
What?
They're beginning to get wise to the fact that they were stuck with those houses.
I'll shed a tear for them. They bought them, they'll pay for them. Strictly legitimate.
You want the case to get to court?
Ain't gonna get there. They're gonna pay.
Not according to Andy Gorham.
Who's he?
One of the men who bought a house. He's representing them all.
Troublemaker, huh?
Well, he's not easy to get along with.
We'll see about that. Barney.
Yeah.
I advise you to be cautious, Mr. Mankato.
Keep your advice. All my dough is tied up in those houses. Money I got the hard way. Rum running in the 20s, policies in the 30s. Black markets during the war. Gonna keep it the hard way if I have to.
Well, times have changed, Mr. Mankato. People have different ideas nowadays.
Nothing changes. People are the same. They only wear different clothes. You push them around, they do like you say. I push.
Yeah? Gorham won't be easy. I tried to buy him off. He wouldn't sell.
One of those guys, huh? Barney knows how to handle them.
He'll still have the others to deal with.
Don't be a jerk. Barney, you were with me in that poultry racket in the Bronx.
Yeah.
What happens when you chop a chicken's head off?
He kicks a little and he dies.
Get the idea, Hobbs?
Don't be too hasty about this, Mr. Mankato.
Who's being hasty? Barney picks this guy up. We try to reason with him. If he don't reason, it's his tough luck that he's the head of the chicken. The part that gets chopped off.
Well, that fills in the picture with more to... Right. Goodbye. Hello, Chief. I've got something real interesting for you.
I've got something more than interesting. Criminal.
What?
I've been over to the local FHA office getting information via teletype from their Washington headquarters.
You can pin something on the realty company?
A false statement in their building application to the government. They said those homes they built wouldn't sell for more than $7,500. That's how they got their application approved.
I'm not surprised.
Why? What have you got?
Chief, do you know who holds 90% of the company?
Who?
Mr. Christopher Mankato.
Chris Mankato, the racketeer who said he was going to retire?
That's the one. Only he doesn't seem to have kept his promise.
No, at the prices he sold those houses, his profit's 200%.
That's a racket in anybody's language.
We'll close in fast, Peters. So far, the company hasn't any idea that we're investigating. We should be able to attach all their files and records for criminal and civil prosecution.
What do we go for? Mankato or Hobbs?
Oh, first Hobbs. He signed the building application. He'll lead us to Mankato.
What about Andy Gorham, Chief?
Ask him to come down here. Start him on a full statement of the whole affair. I'll pay a little visit to Mr. Hobbs.
Mr. Harding, I had no idea your organization would be involved in this. It's a very unfortunate situation.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, I can see the viewpoint of Mr. Gorham and the rest of the homeowners, but, well, I have my stockholders to look out for.
And who are they?
Why, various people. I can't name them all offhand.
You go to great lengths to show your stockholders a profit, don't you, Mr. Hobbs?
What do you mean?
I have a copy of a building application you made to the government.
Oh.
You said those houses would sell for $7,500. You charged more than that.
Why?
A false statement is a serious offense, Mr. Hobbs. A prison sentence goes with it.
Well, I don't...
Never mind. I'll take that. Just sit where you are. Hello?
Open Up Realty Company?
Oh, yes, Peter.
Oh, Chief.
What is it?
I can't locate Gorham.
What?
He left his office to go to lunch. He didn't come back, and he hasn't gone home. I don't like it, Chief. Particularly since Mankato's involved.
We'll find out if he's got anything to do with Gorham's disappearance soon enough. Come over here right away.
You've got Hobbs there?
I have. And I'll give you odds that he tells me everything we want to know before you arrive, including where Mankato is. Won't you, Mr. Hobbs?
You know, you're being silly, kid. You ought to listen to reason.
Well, what's your interest in this?
Don't be curious. Just be smart. Say the word, and you go out of here with a new house and a couple of bucks.
Well, suppose I did. You think the rest of the fellas would pay off and take it lying down?
I'll worry about that. You take away the head, you take away the power. See the deal?
No.
Okay, Barney.
Yeah, sure.
You're a jack, kid. Barney's hand can hold out longer than your face.
Yeah? Well, you won't get away with this.
The original, kid. Everybody says that. One last time. Is it a deal?
No.
Too bad. But in a way, it's good. You saved me some dough. Looks like you do a real job, Barney.
Okay. Here or someplace else?
Someplace else. I don't like funerals.
All right.
What do you mean? You're not going to...
Knock you off? Yeah, kid. Your object lesson number 1. Nobody likes to die, and they might think twice about kicking up a fuss with you as an example.
Let's can the chatter, Chris, and get it over with, huh?
Your department, Barney.
Yeah.
Open up, Mankato. Open up.
Somebody crossed this boss.
Stay where you are.
Oh, Mr. Harding.
Untie him, Peter.
Right, Chief.
Howdy, we Counterspies, huh?
That's right, Mankato. Easy, Barney. I wouldn't like to shoot you.
All right, Andy?
Well, a little bit worse for the wear. I'm glad you came, and that's an understatement.
All right, Peters, put cuffs on Mankato and Barney.
Okay, nobody's going to make trouble. I got lawyers.
You'll need them. What happened, Gorham?
Now, that gorilla Barney picked me up. I didn't know what it was all about.
Mankato's the man behind the Oak Nub Real Estate Company. That's his interest.
Yeah, and by rights, I should be suing this guy. He's the one who's not paying off. I just wanted to save the courts a lot of trouble.
That's nice of you, Mankato, but I'm sure they'll find it no trouble at all to convict you of false statements and fraud. Take them away, Peters.
Mr. Harding will be back in a moment with a special guest. You know, friends, I want to be sure that every Counterspy listener has a chance to get one of our outstanding stainless steel slicing knives. So if the lady of the house isn't listening now, be sure you tell her about this offer. Or better still, send in for one for her. Remember, this is an extra useful slicing knife, guaranteed to compare with knives costing 75 cents to $1. Because of a new secret process, we've been able to have this knife hollow ground, a feature usually found only in knives costing $2 or more, But this slicing knife is offered to you today for only a quarter, with 2 wrappers from Old Nick or Bit of Honey candy bars.
Our slicing knife has a blade that is gleaming stainless steel, hollow ground with a razor-sharp edge, hollow ground by a special exclusive process to keep its sharpness for a long, long time.
The handle is polished blonde hardwood designed to fit your hands smoothly and comfortably with a non-slip grip.
You'll be proud to use it as a carving knife at your nicest dinner party.
And your stainless steel slicing knife will stand up for years of hardest kitchenware. It's stronger, it's extra sharp, it's extra useful. You may want 2 of these fine knives. So here's what to do. For each stainless steel slicing knife you want, send in 2 Old Nick or Bit of Honey wrappers with 25 cents. Please use coin. Do not use stamps or checks. Send to Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York.
Old Nick, Box 144, New York 8, New York.
Send your order now while you're still thinking about it. The quantity is limited, so send in today.
This is David Harding. Now we're happy to present the Executive Vice President of the National Association of Home Builders, Mr. Frank W. Cordray.
The moral of tonight's episode is an important one. Don't buy a new home without knowing everything about it. Unfortunately, some fly-by-night operators, like the ones you've just heard dramatized, have tried to capitalize on the immense housing demand. In order to drive these unscrupulous people out of the home building business, we must have the help of the home buying public. Your part of the job is to be sure you're buying good value and quality. Be sure that the home is well constructed and well situated, that it is properly priced and financed, and that it is being built and sold by a reputable builder. These are all easy things to learn before buying a house, things that one generally makes very sure of before buying many less expensive things. Remember this: home building requires skill, integrity, and years of experience. We came out of the war with a most serious housing shortage. But by this time, we're approaching the 2 million mark and are beginning to meet the most critical part of the veterans' housing needs. Speaking for the National Association of Home Builders, I can assure you that its many thousands of members will continue to build good houses at fair prices.
Thank you, Mr. Cordray.
Tune in next Sunday, same time, same station, for the case of the photogenic crook whose gang dealt in hot money until the counterspies worked out a scheme to put their activities on ice. The case of the camera-happy crook on David Harding, Counterspy. Tonight's David Harding Counterspy case was directed by William M. Sweets and was dramatized by Palmer Thompson, with music by Jesse Crawford, and featured Don Maclaughlin and Mandel Kramer. David Harding Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production, originating in New York for the makers of Old Nick and Bit of Honey candy bars. Now, a listening reminder. When Drew Pearson looks ahead, he usually comes out with a fascinating prediction. Be sure to hear Pearson tonight over this ABC station. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Sunday, May 23rd, 1948, 5:30 Eastern Time. That was Counterspy here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The Sunday night, I should say, on ABC started out with the program Treasury Agent at 5, Counterspy at 5:30, Drew Pearson and the Monday headlines at 6, and then The Greatest Story Ever Told, a wonderful dramatized program. Then 7 o'clock, I Love Adventure, Wayne King, and then an hour-long Stop the Music, which was probably at the time the biggest rated show on ABC, and a really solid game show. And then at 9 o'clock, you had Gossip with Walter Winchell at 9, Luella Parsons at 9:15, and then the Theater Guild on the Air at 9:30. That ran from 9:30 until 10:30, and then another gossip show, Jimmy Fiddler. That was what they had on. We went through ABC, NBC, and CBS. Let's look at Mutual. And their Sunday lineup started deep into the afternoon hours with Juvenile Jury at 3:30. House of Mystery. And why did they start so early? So many of the mutual stations were daytime-only broadcast stations. So they started earlier in the day. 3:30, Juvenile Jury. House of Mystery at 4. True Detective Mysteries at 4:30. And then at 5, The Shadow. The quiz show Quick as a Flash at 5:30. Those Websters at 6. Nick Carter, Master Detective at 6:30. Sherlock Holmes at 7. Gabriel Heater at 7:30, I should say. Another gossip show. And then the Mediation Board at 8. Jimmy Fiddler at 8:30. He was on a bunch of networks, wasn't he? And then Meet Me at Parky's with Park Your Carcass. And then at 9, and then Jim Backus at 9:30, and then the Haunting Hour at 10 o'clock. So that was a lot of what was on this night 77 years ago. You had a lot of things to choose from if you had all of those networks in your home. 77 years ago, let's see, David Harding Counterspy on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Let's take a look at some of what is coming up over the next, over the weekend at least. Tomorrow on Suspense, an episode of Suspense from 1954. Agnes Moorehead, the First Lady of Suspense in Weekend Special Death. Also a 1959 episode of Have Gun Will Travel starring John Dehner, In an Evil Time. Arch Obler's Plays, An Exercise in Horror from 1945 with Peter Lorre. And Night Watch from 1954. Yes, Cops on TV. Night Watch on radio was like Cops on TV, live recorded on the scene things before, because, at that time video cameras were not as portable. And, it's not like today where you've got something the size of a cell phone in your hand that record audio. Back then it was a suitcase. Let's see, Sunday, another episode of Suspense, Orson Welles in the second part of Donovan's Brain that we carried a week ago. A 1958 edition of Bob Bailey as Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, The Midnight Sun Matter. And then a 1942 episode of the Lux Radio Theater Test Pilot, starring Robert Taylor, Robert Preston, and Rita Hayworth. Monday, the classic Fred Allen show that dealt with the game shows. From 1946, King for a Day. And his guest happens to be Mary Livingston's husband. Also, the Rudy Valley and the Royal Gelatin Hour from 1938 with Judy Canova. And an episode of the CBS Radio Workshop that isn't strictly comedy, but it's funny. I Have Three Heads from 1957. And then on Tuesday, we'll get into some Westerns with Fort Laramie and Gunsmoke from 1956, The Six Shooter from 1954, and a 1962 episode of Suspense that's kind of interesting. It's called That Real Crazy Infinity. All that's coming up here this week on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, though, we'll go back to 1950, a pre-Bob Bailey edition of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, with Edmond O'Brien.
Listen and learn through civil defense. This is Johnny Cash. I'd like all of you to remember that America can withstand enemy attack if we support the emergency plans of our community and learn to help ourselves. Make sure you're prepared. Contact your local civil defense office today.
And even though civil defense and nuclear attack is not the big worry today, there are lots of things you can do. Go to ready.gov and find some of the lists there of a number of the things that you can prepare for now. It just makes sense. Before Bob Bailey in 1956, became Johnny Dollar. Before that, you had a number of people, John Lund and this fellow, Edmond O'Brien, one of the first people to play Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. This goes back 75 years, May 23rd, 1950, the Earl Chadwick Matter.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Edmond O'Brien as
Johnny Dollar.
The Ambassador Travel Agency calling back, Mr. Dollar.
Oh, yeah.
Your reservation for Bermuda has just been confirmed. Pan American, flight number 134. You'll leave LaGuardia at 10:30 a.m., arrive Kindley Field, Bermuda, 2:30 p.m.
Got it?
We'll send the tickets right over. It's been a pleasure to serve you, sir, and I hope you have an enjoyable stay in Bermuda. Is it a vacation?
Well, hardly. I'm going down there to look up a dead man.
Edmond O'Brien in another transcribed adventure of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Tri-State Life Insurance Company. Attention, Leland Scarf, Chief Adjuster. The following is an accounting of my expenditures during investigation of the Earl Chadwick matter. Expense account item 1, $1.80, cab fare to your Hartford office.
The man has been seen alive, Dollar. I never was satisfied that he was dead. His boat, a small cruiser, was found wrecked, you know, but never a body.
How long ago was that?
A little over 4 years ago, 1945. He was declared dead in 1947 in appellate court, and we were forced to meet the claim of his widow, or his wife and accomplice, as it might seem now. Go ahead. Here's the lady that saw and spoke to him. Mrs. Marshall, this is Mr. Dollar.
How do you do?
Mrs. Marshall?
Now, I want you to tell Mr. Dollar what you told me, Mrs. Marshall, if you will.
Well, my husband and I had been in Bermuda for 3 days.
Mrs. Marshall, explain that you knew Earl Chadwick before.
Oh, yes, we knew him. Not too well, thank heaven, but well enough to be pointed out as friends of that embezzler. You know how people are.
Embezzler, Mrs. Marshall?
Oh, yes, there was attendant theft. He worked at the Monticello Loan Company in New York City. $30,000 disappeared at the same time he did. Police theory was that he wrecked his boat while attempting to leave with the money. Now, Mrs. Marshall, how you happened to see him?
We'd been there 3 days, and that night we went to this nightclub in Hamilton, slumming, so to speak. It's called the Port of Castile on the waterfront. It had been a number of years, mind you, and Chadwick was much thinner, but I recognized him. He was seated with some sailors, and I said, Jerome, doesn't that look like Earl Chadwick?
And then you spoke to him.
What else could I do? I was dying of curiosity. When he got up to leave, I met him and said, Aren't you Earl Chadwick? He denied it, of course, but being that close, I'm positive that it was.
What did he say? Did he give you a name?
No, but I found out. I felt I was quite within my rights in asking a few questions. The name he's using is George Brewster.
Well, Dollar?
What about Chadwick's wife? What happened to her?
She remarried one of his business associates, Harold Anderson. Yeah. I had the girls draw up a complete record on the case. Photographs, police reports, everything you'll need. The wife's address is there in Queens, I think.
All right, Mr. Scarf. I'll do what I can. Expense account item 2, $250 plane ticket and miscellaneous expenses between Hartford and Bermuda. I drew an aisle seat and one of the worst hazards of air travel, or any other kind of travel.
I'll tell you something. It pays to study these places before you go to them. I've been out there before. Nothing teaches like experience. But before my first trip, I knew more about Bermuda than lots of the folks that live there, see?
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah, yes, sir. Quite a history. Spoiled now, though. People aren't worth anything anymore. You know what spoiled them? Tourists. Yeah, took away all their ambition. Turned them into a bunch of lazy beggars and horse traders. Don't farm anymore. Don't do anything but work the tourists. Now, I don't want to be a wet blanket, you understand?
Oh, yeah.
But keep an eye on your wallet. They'll strip you if you give them a chance. My business is farm tools. What's yours?
Yes, sir. My name is Dollar. Here's my credentials. I'd like to see the chief constable.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Mr. Dollar to see you, sir, an insurance investigator from the States.
Yes, of course. Send him in.
Right, sir. That door, Mr. Dollar.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Mr. Dollar. Your company cabled that you were coming. Sit down.
Thank you.
Well, now, you're here to look into the affairs of one George Brewster. What's he been up to?
I'm not sure he's been up to anything yet. According to a witness, he answers the description of a man who disappeared from New York a few years ago with $30,000.
He was declared dead, and the company that hired me paid off an $80,000 insurance claim to his wife.
I see. Quite a valuable chap.
Yeah, if he is the chap. What about this Brewster? Do you people know him?
We acquainted ourselves with him after the cable arrived. Nothing against him. Lives a rather rum life. Doesn't seem to have much.
Are his papers in order? Passport? Visas?
I trust that he wouldn't be here if they were not. Like any other paradise, Mr. Dollar, Bermuda is forced to accept the existence of a certain percentage of misplaced or lost persons on its outskirts. That's what they are.
They?
Here's the address.
Thank you.
At the lower end of King George Road. Do you wish transportation?
No, don't bother. The walk will do me good. I decided against the King George Road address. Instead, I returned to my hotel, memorized the photographs of Earl Chadwick, subtracting a little weight from the somewhat flabby face. And that night, I found myself a table near the door at the port of Castile. I sat there nursing a minimum of foul drinks. It was 10 o'clock before he came in and found standing space at the bar. George Brewster? Or Earl Chadwick?
What's the matter with you? What is this?
I'm curious, too. How about coming over to my table?
All right. You act like a cop.
Just 50% cop, no badge. I'm working for Tri-State Life Insurance Company.
What does that mean?
They insured a man and paid off to his wife. Now they are unsure he's dead.
He belongs to that other name you threw at me. What was it? Chadwick?
Earl Chadwick.
And I must look like him.
Here's a snapshot.
Huh. He's fatter, but it's pretty close at that. You know, about a week ago, some crazy old dame I never saw before called me some other name. It might have been Chadwick. I thought she'd drunk over her quota.
She was an old friend of Chadwick's. She swears she'd recognize him if she saw him. And she swears she saw him.
Oh, it's weird, isn't it? I suppose it happens more often than we know about. What do you want? My papers and stuff?
They might help.
Sure, I'll write down my address. Come on out anytime tomorrow. There you are.
Thank you. I should recover from these drinks by noon.
Oh, that'll be all right. It's crazy, isn't it? Things like this could get your goat.
You the guy George was talking about last night?
Probably. I'm Johnny Dollar. Is George here?
No, he had to leave. He said you could come in. He said you could look at this stuff. Here's his passport and cards and things.
How long have you known him?
2 years last month.
You know where he came from?
Never asked me where I came from. This guy, he looks like. He had a wife?
Yeah. I want to take some of his personal things into town to check his prints against this passport. Shaving brush if he uses one, tubes, jars, anything.
You think he's the guy?
I'll have to find out.
Never mind.
You told me you were going.
The prints would check against the passport, but it wouldn't make any difference. Now that it's started, why stretch it out? Why not make it easy?
George?
No, Earl. I'd almost forgotten. Earl. Where can we talk?
I've got a hotel room. The statement he made filled in most of the blanks in the case. 1, his wife was to have met him in Mexico City, but hadn't. 2, most of the stolen funds had gone to his wife to keep her going until she collected the insurance.
So she got married. I didn't know that. She told me to wait, and I did. Grace married.
We can leave for the States
Grace
anytime
and
you're ready.
Harold. Huh? Oh, I can be ready anytime you say. All I have to do is pack a few things and say goodbye to Fran.
Expense account item 3, space for 2 on New York-bound plane. Chadwick was a hard man to figure out, but one thing I did realize. Now that he'd started, he was almost happy to be going back to the people he'd left. We arrived in the evening, and the next morning, I was told when I telephoned that Mrs. Grace Chadwick Anderson and her husband were at home and would receive me.
Oh, good morning.
Hello, Grace. Harold.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I understand, Harold. This must be the man that Mrs. Marshall phoned about. You know, the one in Bermuda.
Oh, come now, Grace. That's no good.
Who are you, anyway? Mr. Dollar, for what purpose did you and this man come here?
I brought him here so you could identify him as your missing husband.
That's idiotic. There is the faintest resemblance, yes, but that's all.
What do you have in mind, Mr. Dollar? Now, no crude extortion attempt like this will get you anything but arrest. I know Earl Chadwick, and I'll swear under oath that this man is not he.
I should think you would, Harold.
Who are you, and where did you learn my name?
Get him out of here.
Why? Why not talk over old times, Grace?
Wait a minute. All right, Mrs. Anderson, Mr. Anderson. I'm sorry I've taken up your time. Come on.
Dollar, what's the matter? You too?
Come on.
I'm sorry, dear. I know it's been unpleasant for you.
Who do you think I am? I ask you, who do you think I am?
That doesn't count. You're legally dead. What about your parents?
They're dead. But I have friends or people that knew me.
They're no good. If your wife won't identify you, they're no good. You worked for a loan company. They must have your prints.
I took them from the files and destroyed them when I left.
How are your teeth?
What?
Teeth. Who was your dentist here in town?
Dr. Field. It's been so long. Dr. Homer Field. Drake, Professional Building, Manhattan.
He'll still have your x-rays on file. They're as good as fingerprints. Go there this morning. Don't use your name. Give him your other name, George Brewster. Have a new set of x-rays taken. I'll do the rest.
All right.
Hold it. Now, look, I don't have to hire somebody to follow you, do I?
No. Oh, no. Not after I've seen them. You don't have to worry about my going anyplace.
Expense account item 4, $25 services of a private detective. Assignment, tailing Earl Chadwick and/or George Brewster. At 1 o'clock, he had left the dentist's office and gone to his hotel room. At 3, he was still there. And at 4:30, I arrived in the office of Dr. Homer Field.
Brewster? Oh, yes. His x-rays have come through. They're on the clamps. Don't touch them, please. What is your interest?
Police identification.
Oh, yes. Well, always happy to cooperate.
Thank you. Now, how about digging in your files for the x-rays on a patient named Chadwick? Earl Chadwick.
Yes, I'd be glad to. Let's see. Chadwick. Earl M. Chadwick, is that your man?
That's the name.
Ah, well, 1945. Ooh, he should have been in for hygiene.
Those pictures, how do they compare with this new set? Brewster.
Well, let's have a look. There's malocclusion, lower bicuspid, impacted third molar. Erosion inlay, very interesting.
You mean they're the same in both sets of pictures?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Oh. But a man's mouth could change since 1945, couldn't it?
Yes, it could, especially with neglect, but that would never cause a man to grow new teeth. Now, you see here, Brewster has one more incisor than Chadwick. The whole character of the mouth is different, I see, here.
Yeah. I see, it's different, all right.
Definitely. These two men would not look even faintly alike.
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. But first, down the old Ox Road, learn to croon straight from the shoulder. Milestones in popular American music. Milestones in the career of one of America's favorite troubadours, Bing Crosby. This Wednesday night, over most of these same CBS stations, you're invited to hear The Bing Crosby Show. Bing Crosby with the music of John Scott Trotter, with the Rhythm Airs with Ken Carpenter. Here's the show designed for the whole family. a pleasant and diverting mixture of music and merriment, guided by the one and only Bing Crosby. Plan now to hear The Bing Crosby Show this Wednesday night on CBS. And now with our star, Edmond O'Brien, we return to the second act of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Look, Dr. Field, these x-rays labeled Earl Chadwick. Could they be misfiled? Could they be under the wrong name?
Misfiled? No, definitely not. My assistant has been with me for 10 years. Never made a mistake yet. No.
Well, then could anyone else have gotten in here and planted a different set under that name?
But why? I would realize the difference the moment I looked into the mouth. That erosion inlay alone.
Yeah, I know. Look, your office. Has it been broken into?
Yeah, a long time ago, for narcotics.
How long ago?
6, 7 years ago, during the war.
But not since then.
I've missed nothing.
The janitor, the nightman, does he have a key?
No. It's cleaned in the evening, just before I leave. Robbery is out of the question. Just what is your problem, Mr. Dollar?
Well, if I wanted to plant some x-rays in a file, where could I get some?
Well, I've never thought of it. But
where would I go? Would you give me some?
Oh, no, definitely not. That would be most unethical, unless, of course, you were a patient of mine and the x-rays were of your own mouth.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. I think that's what I wanted to hear you say. Before dark, I made 2 more stops, searching for something to help me prove that Earl Chadwick was alive, if he was. The Hall of Records had nothing but a couple of certificates on him. One recorded his birth, the other recorded his death. I checked the wanted file at police headquarters. They had checked him out in 47 when the court had pronounced him dead. On my way out of there, I made 2 phone calls. The second was to the detective I'd hired.
Yeah?
Landro, what are you doing in your office? Did you lose him or get tired?
He was on to me, Dollar. He got into the crowds at Macy's. I put the houseman at his hotel on it. He's watching his door.
I just phoned his room. He's not there. What's he been up to?
He left the hotel at 318 and took a cab over to 3rd Avenue.
What address?
A pawn shop, Johnny. He bought a gun.
Nice going, Landro. If you decide to change over to stopping traffic at school crossings, use me as a reference. Where's your husband, Miss Anderson?
He's here, but he doesn't...
Come on, I want to talk to you both.
You have no right to be barging.
Where is he?
What is it, Grace? Oh, it's you again.
That's
He
right.
forced his way into the house. Make him get out, Harold.
I will if I have to. Now, look here. I don't know what that imposter has told you, and I don't care. If you choose to believe his lies, that's your business. And a sorry business it is. But I will not allow my wife and my home to be upset by his schemes any longer.
Are you through?
No, not quite. It's obvious to us, if it's not to you, that this man learned of the unexplained details surrounding Earl's death and is attempting to use this vague resemblance to his advantage. Now, extortionists land in prison, Mr. Dollar. And the only reason I haven't turned to the police before this is that we want to escape the notoriety of having past tragedies lived again.
He bought a gun this afternoon. That makes him look like the double-crossed husband, doesn't it?
The man's a maniac. I'm going to ask for police protection.
Where is he?
Who?
This man. Do you know where he is?
When I found out he bought a gun, I was afraid he was coming here to use it.
Harold, I can't believe this is happening.
Now, Grace, please. Why would he harm us? He doesn't know us, and we don't know him. He bought the gun to convince you, Dollar.
He knows a lot about you, Anderson. He knows you were Chadwick's immediate superior in the loan company before he disappeared.
Harold, it couldn't be, could it?
Grace.
It's been a long time. Maybe some disease could change a person that much. But he would have contacted
Grace,
me.
Earl is dead.
How did this man learn so much about us?
As far as I can see, he's made only one mistake, the size of the theft. He says he stole $10,000. According to the record, $30,000 was missing. Of course, it's possible that it isn't a mistake, that somebody in the firm who knew what his plan was picked up the odd $20,000 and put it on Chadwick's account.
Mr. Dollar, I have one thing to say to you before you leave. Earl Chadwick is dead.
You're so right. And that's what troubles me. A legally dead man running around loose with a gun makes an interesting situation. Did you ever think of that? Who would the police look for? I'm going to my hotel in case you want to phone in your answer. Where have you been, Chadwick?
Right here. The maid let me in.
What's the idea?
I was scared somebody was following me. I got the feeling they hired somebody to get rid of me.
No.
Why not?
I haven't thought of that yet. Give me the gun.
I need it.
Come on, where is it?
Never mind. Get away from me.
Come on, where are you carrying it?
Hey, you... How did you know I had it?
What were you going to do with it?
I told you I was scared. You thought I was going to kill them?
The idea crossed my mind.
No. What good would that do?
How should I know what's going on in that head of yours? Why'd you come back then?
Just to get things straightened out.
You wouldn't have had to. I haven't found a way to prove who you are.
Oh, I knew I didn't have to come back. But everything was stagnant. Being George Brewster was dull. I thought that's what I wanted. A new identity, even without Grace. But I guess nobody's ever satisfied. And when you have a choice of who you want to be, then it's really hard. What about the x-rays?
No good. The set under Chadwick didn't match the one you had taken today.
They had to.
They made a switch with somebody else's, probably Anderson's. It's an easy office to enter. Probably hired a cat burglar. Nothing at the Hall of Records, nothing at police headquarters. You're dead.
What did the police say?
I didn't talk to them. Why should I? The case is closed. You're dead.
Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin.
Yeah?
Landro, Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Sorry I blew up.
Forget it. I lost him, didn't I? How is it?
Oh, it's a mess. I'm not getting any place. The only proof I can find is proof that he's dead.
Maybe he should stay there.
Yeah, I'm getting ideas myself.
What about his draft board? They take prints.
Police checked in 47. They lost. Look, I'm going to have to dummy up something. I don't want you to violate any trade secrets, but do you know a good forger?
That depends.
It'll be practically legal. All I need is a driver's license.
I think that can be managed, Johnny. When?
Tonight.
It'll cost.
Well, I'm working for a wealthy company. Oh, there's more, too, Landro. How about meeting us in your office in 45 minutes?
Sure, Johnny. Bring a bottle.
Expense account item 5, $500, one bogus 1947 driver's license complete with Chadwick's thumbprint. By 10 p.m., we were back in Landro's office.
Johnny, how desperate is this Anderson?
Desperate enough to welcome a nice, fast deal. Don't quote a price unless you have to. Just get him down here.
Why anybody goes through all this to make prison?
Prison?
Come on, Landro, get on the phone. There's the number.
You're my client. Mr. Harold Anderson, I'll be blunt. This is blackmail. I'm calling in the interests of Earl Chadwick. No, he isn't. He's alive. But I do have proof. A driver's license he took out just before he disappeared, as a sort of a double check on the past. You'll believe it when you see it. It's for sale. He doesn't want to go to prison any more than you do, but he needs money. I said you'd believe it when you saw it. I think it'll be worth a trip over here. We'll talk price then. We meet here. Number 465 Tide Building, 7th Avenue. It's no bluff. Nobody knows about it. I'll be alone. He doesn't believe it.
When'll he be here?
He said 45 minutes.
Good. Now, don't make the price too high. Set up a meeting with him tomorrow, and we'll have the police here.
Well, step forth, Lazarus.
Empty the ashtrays, Landro. Looks like 3 men have been here. He arrived at 11:30. Chadwick and I, in an adjoining room with the door cracked, watched his wary entrance.
Who are you?
The name is on the door.
Landro. You work under a license issued by the state of New York.
Sometimes, but the license isn't important tonight. You won't make any trouble. Sit down.
Well, Landro?
Here it is. Just look. Name, a serial number, a date, a signature, and a thumbprint.
Where is he?
He'll phone me in the morning.
Well, where's the man from the insurance company?
Looking for Chadwick. He doesn't know about this yet.
Why? Why has he waited this long?
He didn't know everything that had happened. You and his wife. The money you made on it.
What's the price?
Well, as he put it to me, it ought to be figured from the 20 grand you took and the advance you've made in the company the last few years.
How much?
He'd like to start at 15,000.
It would take a while.
5,000 tomorrow, say around noon. The other 10 within a week. That's when you get the license.
Well, it would have to be later than noon tomorrow, but I brought 1,500 with me.
That's a deal.
All right. I'll give it to you.
Hey, watch it. Don't do it.
Anderson.
Wait, Dollar.
Landro, down. Landro.
I'm all right.
Chadwick. 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 Pulse. Pull his collar down.
Nothing?
Nothing. I don't know what your company can do about it now. Both Mr. and Mrs. Anderson gave statements to the police that same night, confessing their contribution to the original crime. You'll have a hard time prying Harold Anderson loose from the clutches of the state, which is working on a murder indictment for him. About the wife, Grace, I don't know. If she's not found guilty as an accessory, I'd be happy to appear as a witness if she's brought to trial on fraud charges. As for my part in it, I'm not proud of myself, but I was hired to find a dead man, and I finally found one, just before he lived. Expense account total, $1,575.30. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, stars Edmond O'Brien in the title role and is written by Gil Dowd and David Ellis, with music composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Edmond O'Brien can soon be seen starring in the Columbia Pictures production, The Los Angeles Story. Featured in tonight's cast were Lillian Baeff, Walter Burke, Virginia Gregg, John Boehner, Ben Wright, Tudor Owen, and Ted Osborne. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is produced and directed by Jaime Del Valle. Join us again next week at this same time when, from Hollywood, Edmond O'Brien returns in another transcribed adventure of
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Every Wednesday night, CBS brings you Groucho Marx with his brilliant quiz, You Bet Your Life. It's one of the brightest, most spontaneous, most genuinely funny shows on the air. So be listening this Wednesday night on most of these same CBS stations for You Bet Your Life, starring Groucho Marx. Stay tuned now for the adventures of Philip Marlowe, which follow over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The heart of a great show was there, but it wasn't quite right yet. It wasn't until 1956 when you saw Bob Bailey get involved and the other folks who made that run of shows from 1956 until 1962 made it a great show. Jack Johnstone did a lot of great work with the show. 75 years ago, May 23rd, 1950, Edmond O'Brien as yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream. Another lost show from Chicago. It's actually a local show 5 after the hour. We'll hear that next.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Pat Boone. In case of enemy attack, you must know your warning signals. A steady blast of 3 to 5 minutes means tune your radio dial to 640 or 1240. A 3-minute wavering tone or a series of short blasts, take cover immediately.
Okay, now on Classic Radio Theater, we're going to go to Chicago for a program in the early and mid-40s. WBBM found they had a big star on their writing and directing staff. Les Weintraub had taken on a few projects. The biggest show, a popular sitcom, Those Websters, and The Brewster Boy. Successful sitcom as well. Sponsor was delighted until the writer and creator suffered accusations as communist sympathizers. Unwilling to let a good thing slip away, the ad agency running the show pulled most of the acting company and stole the concept, placing the whole thing in less controversial hands. A person who stayed with the show in WBBM territory was a fellow by the name of Dick York. Remember him as the first Darren in Bewitched? Well, they created this show for Weintraub on WBBM 5 minutes after the hour, named for the practice of most stations to fill the first 5 minutes of the hour with news and advertising, and it was set loose at 11 p.m., well after the family primetime hours. You're going to hear an episode of 5 after the hour, and this goes back to, one of those great anthology type of shows, and that's what you're going to hear here. From 80 years ago, May 23rd, 1945, 2 weeks after D-Day, or VE Day, I should say. It's entitled The Man Without a Face.
5 after the hour by Les Weintraub. It is 5 after the hour. Play the theme song, Mr. Conductor. Play it sweet, play it smooth. Make music a man can whistle. Thank you. A theme song is composed for you, listener. Fashioned so that you can settle yourself comfortably near your radio. Designed for your ease in listening. Require time for comfort and ease. 50 seconds. Now, prepare to be disturbed by The Man Without a Face.
Now they've gone. I must think this out very carefully. I must decide what to say before they return to kill me. Oh, it is so difficult to think now. Think, man, think. Your future, your life depends upon it. Your future, your life. Do you not remember the day you died? 10, or was it 11 years ago? I was at home, getting ready to attend a meeting of the bakers. Now, Liebchen, my cap.
Here it is, dear. My, you do look handsome.
Do you like it worn straight or cocked over the eye, so?
Very jauntily. That way. And you shan't be late, shall you?
No. When the Munich Bakers Guild meets for an evening of beer drinking, singing, and marching, who can say any hour is late? Excellent evening. Oh, excellent. Such singing, such mirth.
Hey, it was good. Und the beer? Wunderbar.
What more pleasant a life could a man desire? Good friends, good companionship, laughter, music, and marching to Sturman.
Right, absolutely right.
How easily you are both contented.
Why should we not be content?
Why, indeed?
Germany lies bleeding, disgraced by the terms of Versailles, sold out by the capitalists and the communists and the Jews, and you are content to wear those foolish uniforms and sing sentimental songs. You have no purpose in life.
What greater purpose can one have than to raise a fine family, have a successful bakery, and belong to a club?
Yes, whatever are you talking about?
Blind both of you. History is being written around you, and you have not the eyes to see. Germany's destiny is being planned, and you have not the sense to understand. He has come to lead Germany, to redeem Germany. He will be our savior.
I should have sensed it then. I should have recognized it as a disease that would spread over all Germany, a disease from which the German soul would shrivel and wither and eventually die. Now I remember my friend's face as he spat out those words. There was hate there in his eyes, hate and fanaticism and cruelty and lust. There was greed for power. There was everything a human should be frightened of. But I did not see it. Perhaps it was dark that night. Perhaps the beer blurred my vision. Perhaps it was because the swastika was then only a hooked cross in a red field. The fear was then only a politician who spoke very loudly and made us feel that we should conquer the world through bluff and bluster. So I returned to my home and hung up my uniform of the Baker's Guild and went about baking the lightest Pfannkuchen in all Munich. Dummkopf! How many times have I told you you do not pull the trays out yet?
I'm sorry, master. I did not mean to be so careless.
He did not mean to be so careless. For an excuse like that, an apprentice receives a reward like this.
Oh!
Now, perhaps you will remember the exact moment one pulls the trays out from the oven. Now, perhaps... And who dares to open the door without my permission? Who dares...
Come with us. Immediately.
What talk is this? What do you mean by...
Pick him up. Take the boy, too. He has seen. This is the baker, Herr Doctor. Heil Hitler.
Yeah, Sieg Heil. The physical characteristics are as described. Nose, however, we will try. His ancestry has, of course, been thoroughly checked.
5 generations here in Munich. Aryan to the last drop of blood.
Yeah, good. And now, tell me, Baker, are you prepared to shed a few drops of your pure Aryan blood in the course of the Third Reich?
I may. 'Tis permitted that I speak.
To answer questions, yeah.
But why have I been brought here? My family...
Your family is safe for the moment. They are in protective custody.
But why?
Take him away. They are ready for him in the operating room.
Operating room. The many surgeons. Oh, how they examined me, the measurements of my face, then the anesthetic, and the operation. Weeks, many weeks in the room, never being spoken to, strapped to the bed, my face a hideous torment, burning, itching, hurting. Then, that day.
But we shall find out soon. And now, we shall see the results of your surgery.
I pray I have been successful.
If you have, your work is over. Mine begins.
We have come to remove the bandages. It will not be painful. Thank you. So, we begin. When we are finished, we shall have a surprise for you. Eh, Herr Doctor?
Proceed with your work.
Of course. My apologies. There. Now, to remove this last bandage. So.
Yeah, incredible. This work I shall enjoy. Well, Baker, are you not curious?
I do not know what to say.
Good. Continue so and you will prosper. With such a face, how can you help but prosper?
Such a face?
Yeah. Here, take this mirror. Now, look at yourself.
Oh, no. I must be mad. Oh. He has fainted from the shock.
Yeah, understandable. Would not you faint if you awakened and found you had the face of Adolf Hitler?
The face of Adolf Hitler. My face. What a fantastic thing. My reason tottered. I was certain I'd gone mad. Then the little Herr Doctor, he of the club foot, came again to my room. With him was the plain man I was to learn to fear. The one with the thin mouth and the nose glasses.
You are to be given the most glorious opportunity. The opportunity of laying down your life for your Führer.
My men of the Gestapo and Schutzstaffel will, of course, give you every protection. Needless to say, you'll be watched at all times. You will do nothing unless ordered. Is that clear?
I understand.
To your person, the Führer will be spared many taxing moments. His person will be reserved for only the most important activities. And now, your course of instruction will begin. Head erect. Shoulders back. Left hand looped on the belt. Yeah? Better. Now the eyes flash. The head is thrown back. The right arm upraised in salute. Stiffly. Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler.
No. Not like everything. Like a lion. Again.
But, Herr Doctor, I cannot much till I try.
Yeah, enough. Take him back into the room with the recording equipment for the rest of the day.
Wir sind belogen und betrogen worden. We have been lied to and betrayed by the capitalists, the communists, and the Jews. England has grown fat off the meat of our bones. Russia lies waiting to pick those bones. And the Jews, like the jackals they are, stand ready to eat the remains. Germans, arise! Wir sind belogen und betrogen worden!
Nein, it is of no further use. You will never be able to emulate the Führer's voice.
Then we will dispose of him.
No. Much effort has been expended on him. He will do for routine matters. Mass demonstrations, parades, various inspections where the Führer is not expected to speak. You follow?
Yes. And for all functions where there is the slightest degree of danger.
That was why I was spared. There were others with faces like mine who could do the speaking on occasion. I learned of them quite by accident, and I kept the knowledge to myself. At first I was afraid, and then I was no longer fearful. People looked at me and cheered. People looked at me and trembled. There were even those who knew I was not what I seemed to be, but they were respectful. After all, one does not know what will happen. Yes, I liked it. I felt the power, the glory of leadership.
Glorious leader, the youth of Germany welcomes you. In your thoughts we find our inspiration. In your deeds we find our ambitions. In your hopes we find our goals. We are you, and you are Germany. Hallite!
Yes, one must clear the fear of friendship to appreciate it. I thought of nothing else. Now I wore my uniform more and more, even as he did. I resented having only the one uniform. I wished he would wear many, like the fat one did. I learned much of what transpired in the party, too. The hatred, the jealousies. But one thing above all others I learned, that to conquer the world, one must follow blindly.
You will leave at once for Munich.
At once?
He is there. He is not well. The cares of state weigh heavily on him. Various diplomats are expected. You will be seen in his study while he is resting. You will also abstain from any other activities.
As you command, sir.
In the event you do not completely understand me, may I point out that the various ways in which you entertain yourself are known to us.
Ja, mein Herr.
That is all. Save one thing. Your situation is one from which there is no resigning. Also, if you are found wanting, there will be no other situation.
Munich, the Brenner Pass, Berchtesgaden, always with honor, with respect. Dachau, Belsen, Nordhausen, Gardelegen, the concentration camps. How the guards outdid themselves to entertain me. And how the inferior race and the political prisoners trembled as word passed through that I was there. The power and the glory of might. Then the blood purge of June 1934. I was fearful at first, but it was soon over, and I was safe again. I was more powerful than ever. Then the entrance into Austria in 1938. Anschluss. The Poles, we would show them. In 1939, Czechoslovakia. A few days later, Lithuania. Then Poland. But the war went on, and it was good. War is good. Man is intended to battle, and the German is destined to rule. Germany must have Lebensraum. And the Lebensraum she must have is the whole world.
France has capitulated, and Marshal Pétain has agreed to terms of surrender. The Führer is now on his way to Paris.
He danced a jig when France fell. He danced a jig after I had gone forward to try out the surroundings. But I had no fear. There was no one who could stand up to us. No one could question our might. Then something happened. The astrologers and the mystics came more often to the Reich's chancellery. And he spent more and more time with them, and less time with the staff of the High Command. The Russian campaign. He promised it would be a great adventure. It was no adventure. Japan struck at America. The Amerikanische force declared war. And then the fat-bellied one proved a liar. He had promised us his Luftwaffe would drive from the skies anyone who dared rise up against it. He lied. I was near Hamburg.
Come, sir. We must evacuate at once. The celebration that was planned, it is cancelled.
The Wehrmacht has made a strategic retreat on the Russian front. Our forces have fallen back in good order, and the High Command has prepared a trap that will ensnare the recklessly advancing Soviets.
For the national security, greater restrictions will be made on the home front. All citizens of the Reich will register with the proper authorities at once.
Today, I knew it was the end. The Russians were at the very gates of Berlin. The Americans and the British were in the skies over Berlin. And I was in Berlin. The secret sub-basement of the Reich's chancellery. With him, with a little club-footed man. The Herr Doctor had just announced over the radio that he would fight with the citizens of Berlin to the end. Now I hated him. He had betrayed us. He had promised us the world and had led us into this hell. Then I heard them talking. I heard them.
You have your orders? I understand. He will leave by plane. The other one will die here.
But I did not want to die. I wanted to live. I had done nothing wrong. He had betrayed us all. He had promised us victory. You cannot kill me, my wife, my children. I will go back to Munich, my bakery. You cannot do it. I must think, plan. They will come back. The Russians. They will think I am him. They will come.
This one. We dug him out of the sub-basement of the Reichschancellor, Tovarishch Doctor. A good Nazi party member, no doubt. What is left of him, his face, you see, gone completely. No identification. Fingerprints were checked. He is no one. Pulse. Very weak. Will he live? Who knows? Tell me, Doctor, if such a one survives, is there a possibility for plastic surgery? Possibly. Let me see. My guess, brown hair, weak mouth, pronounced nose. Typical Aryan, eh? Is it your guess they will make him a new face, Doctor? I rather think no. The young, them the world can repair. Their faces, their minds, their hearts, their souls. For them, there is hope in the brotherhood of man. For this one and the others like him, these we shall leave without faces, even as Germany is today. These have lost the right to new faces. These have lost the right to the brotherhood of man. This one and the others like him must go on until he dies, a man without the face.
You have been listening to The Man Without a Face, written, directed, and produced by Les Weinrod. 5 after the hour originated in the studios of WBBM, the Wrigley Building, Chicago. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And this is WBBM, the Air Theater, Wrigley Building, Chicago.
A locally produced show that sounded as good as anything else you would hear in 1945. 80 years ago today, May 23rd, 1945, The Man Without a Face, an episode of 5 after the hour. Thank you for being with us today. Visit us at classicradio.stream. Up next, The Couple Next Door.
Civil defense is common sense. This is Boris Karloff. No one can guarantee the survival of every home during a nuclear war, but a strong civil defense can save millions of lives. Make sure that yours is one of them. Learn how to protect your home. Call Civil Defense today.
We wrap up this edition of the podcast for a Friday with Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce, The Couple Next Door, originally broadcast 65 years ago today, May 23rd, 1960.
CBS Radio brings you The Couple Next Door, written by Peg Lynch and starring Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce.
Hello. Hello, Martha. Yeah, look, connect me with my office, will you? I want to talk to Miss Jones.
Daddy.
Now, Bobby, please, now be a good boy this morning, would you? Good boy.
Good boy.
Yes, that's it. Now finish your toast while Daddy telephones. You want to get down off your high chair?
No.
All right, now sit nice and quiet and eat your toast while... Hello, Miss Jones. Yeah, I know, I'm terribly late, but...
Daddy, get down.
My wife went to Chicago for the weekend with a friend of hers, and they didn't get in last night. The flight was canceled.
Daddy, get down.
Oh,
Daddy,
hold on
get
just a minute,
down.
Willie, for Pete's sake. I just asked you a second ago if you wanted to get down. You said no. Yeah, all right, hurry up. All right, I'm getting you down. Well, just a second. Well, what is the matter? Oh, your foot is caught. Wait a minute. Oh, this your foot. You've got it caught in the high chair. How in the name of time you could ever have gotten you... there. All right. Now stay in the kitchen, will you, while Daddy phones? Oh, honestly. Hello. Oh, Miss Jones, I'm sorry, but my son's foot caught in the high chair. Yeah, well, I put through a call to Chicago. I can't leave Bobby, my little boy, here alone. I got Betsy off to school, all right. No, I've had the two of them all weekend, and I can tell you I'm about ready for a straitjacket.
Daddy!
Now, Miss Jones, as soon as I reach the Castleton Arms Hotel in Chicago, where my wife is staying, and I find out what plane she's coming in on here today, it may... Oh, just a minute. Wait a minute. Bobby, be quiet, would you, please? Hello.
More milk, Daddy.
She's with her friend, Mrs. Lundell, and it's very possible they got an early flight out of Chicago, and they're already on their way home.
Daddy!
Bobby, when Daddy is out... Don't grab the tablecloth. Oh, please! Oh!
Uh-oh.
Miss Jones, I'll call you back. Operator, I'd like to know what happened to the call I put through to Chicago. No, I've been waiting for this. That's right. Piper. Mrs. Piper, at the Castleton Arms Hotel in Chicago. Piper. Piper. Castleton Arms. C-A-S. Piper. Piper. Look, I gave all this information to the other operator. Bobby, hold on a minute, would you, Bobby, please.
What?
What? Stop banging that spoon against the refrigerator. Daddy's on the phone, can't you see? Daddy's trying to call Mommy. Now be Daddy's good boy. Hello, operator. Yeah, I'm awfully sorry, my little boy here. Yeah, well, look, will you please try to get my call through? My wife was due home last night, but the flight was canceled. I can't go to work. Yes, thank you very much. Now, Bobby, you be very quiet, huh?
Huh?
Will you be Daddy's good boy while Daddy talks long distance? Will you? Good boy?
Good boy.
Yes. Hello? Hello? Oh, wait a minute, Bobby. Bobby!
What?
Now, stop that.
Stop that. No.
Oh, just give me that spoon. Robert, give it here.
No, it's Bobby's spoon.
All right, now look, if Bobby bangs his spoon against the refrigerator, once more, Daddy's going to take it away from him. Now, do you hear that?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
All right, now, hello. Yes, I'm home. Where else would I be? But I can't leave Bobby here alone. I got to get to work. When are you coming home? No. Hold on just a minute. Here, now give that here. Give it here. Get back. You come back here. Come back here. Come. Oh, look, hold on, will you? I'll be right back. Now you come here. Come here.
Yes, I'm still here holding on. I wish you'd remember it's long distance, dear. Why do you sound so hysterical? Well, I am coming home this morning. Ann and I are all packed, and we're about to leave the hotel and catch the early plane home. Flight 601.
Good thing I looked under the bed. Here are your bedroom slippers.
Ann just found my bedroom slippers under the bed. Honestly, I never stay at a hotel. I don't leave something, huh? Toothbrush, Bobby did what? Oh, no. Oh, you poor thing.
What did Bobby do? What did Bobby do?
Yeah, he yanked the tablecloth off the table.
Oh.
He's been cleaning up a mess of coffee and orange juice and crispy, crunchy breakfast cereals and goodness knows...
Oh, dear, I sympathize.
I know, dear. Well, now, look, you were the one who urged me to gad off this weekend to Chicago with Ann. It would do me good, you said. Oh, yeah. But you just had Betsy and Bobby to take care of for 2 days, honey. I have them all the time. I know, but you said I shouldn't worry. You were going to have fun. Well, I think that's a word you should drop from your vocabulary. The children are getting older, and well...
Be sure and tell them thanks from me.
Oh, dear. Listen, Ann says thanks. For what? Well, we certainly save money staying at this hotel, and particularly since we ate all our meals here, too, and when it doesn't cost anything for room and board, you know, you really save... Hello. Oh, he's yelling at Bobby again. Dear!
We're going to miss that plane if we don't hurry up and check out.
Dear! All I hear is the two of them yelling at each other. Oh. Operator, if my husband calls back, tell him I rushed to catch the plane. Tell him to meet Flight 601. Thank you. Well, are we all packed, Ann?
Well, I can't find anything we've left.
Well, I'll look around. Shall I call the bell captain and have him send a boy up?
No. Oh, good heavens, no. We can certainly carry these dinky little overnight bags down ourselves. I think it's a waste of money to tip a boy 50 cents to carry them down.
And then another 50 cents or more from the desk to the taxi.
Yes.
That's what really gets me.
Yes. Of course, hotels get mad when you don't ring for a bellboy.
Well, this is different, I think. It isn't as though we were paying guests. Actually, we don't even need to stop at the desk, really. I told the desk clerk this morning, after breakfast we'd be leaving, and I thanked him, told him we'd had, excellent service.
Oh, we must leave a tip for the maid, too. Now, where's my purse?
Never mind. I have mine right here.
No.
Let's see now.
Now, just put it away.
What?
Your money is no good.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean it. Now, listen, I'm already so indebted to you for getting our hotel room and meals for nothing. The fact is, I'm really rather embarrassed about it.
Oh, embarrassed. Why should you be embarrassed, Ann, for goodness sake?
Because I had no idea when I suggested that we gad off for the weekend, get away from our families for a couple of days. I had no idea you owned a hotel in Chicago.
Well,
I swear I didn't know it. Believe me.
Well, I swear I didn't know it either. Believe me, I am just so dumb about stocks and bonds. Anyhow, I don't own it.
Well, your husband, same thing.
No, the stock is in his name. He got it before we were married.
Oh.
Every time he gets a dividend, he says, boy, that hotel I own in Chicago certainly pays off.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh, here, I guess these are your gloves.
Oh, yes, thanks. I better get my hat on, too, I guess. Anyhow, when he said to me, if you girls are going to Chicago, you better stay at the Castleton Arms Hotel. It doesn't do any harm to keep a little money in our own pockets.
Oh, I should say not, and we have.
Oh, I know.
This trip has hardly cost us anything.
I know it.
I cannot find my gloves anywhere.
Well, they're yours on the end table there.
Oh.
Well, when he said that, I suddenly realized, which just shows how dumb I am about things, that's why he always stays here when he comes to Chicago. You know, stays for nothing. Of course, I didn't tell him. It suddenly dawned on me why. I'm afraid my poor, long-suffering husband thinks I'm dumb enough now about simple arithmetic, let alone high finance, you know.
It must be wonderful to own something and get things free. I wish Jack and I did. Hey, wait a minute. Come to think of it, Jack has some railroad stock.
Aw.
Not much. But shouldn't we be getting free passes?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's different with big companies. Or maybe it's just because you never asked, that's all. After all, a ticket seller wouldn't, just know that you owned part of the railroad.
No, I have a cousin who owns part of a movie theater, and he always gets in free.
Sure. Well, there you see. I suppose that's the advantage of owning stock. You and I are just catching on. Now, come on, and we'll miss the plane, and I have a feeling that my better half is going to be waiting at the airport at home, champing at the bit. I think he's had quite enough of cooking meals for 2 children for 2 days.
Listen, if your husband is upset, it's because he can't bear to let you out of his sight for 2 days.
Out of sight, out of mind. But I think he's going to be very glad to see me. Come on.
No, put that down. But yes, I'm coming. Oh, Bobby, please, now, will you? What? Sweetheart!
Mommy!
What did you do? Did you come from the airport in a taxi?
Uh-huh.
Oh, golly.
No, Bobby, come to Mommy. Yeah, Mommy's home, darling.
For Pete's sakes, I intended to drive to the airport with Bobby. Then I thought you could take me to the office. I'd get in at least half a day's work.
Uh-huh.
I thought, I'll vacuum the living room and
Have you been a good boy?
Yes, good boy.
Good boy. Look, he
darling.
snapped open part of the vacuum cleaner, where the bag is, and he emptied it on the rug. He emptied it on the rug, the whole thing. And then you know what he did?
Yes, Mommy's home.
Listen, then the outgoing air from the back of the vacuum cleaner blew all the dirt on the floor into the air. I have dusted, and I have dusted. Let me tell you what happened yesterday.
You haven't even asked me if I had a good time.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. Did you have a good time?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Now, listen, I want to tell you
Ann and I did some shopping on Saturday, window shop mostly, and Saturday night we visited a friend we'd known in school.
Yeah.
Actually, we just enjoyed not having the children to worry about or dishes to do. Now, look, you're the one who urged me to go. Aw, it's been a tough 2 days for you, hasn't it, dear? You look like a wreck.
Well, you know why? I am. Honestly, I tell you, I don't think I've ever really appreciated what you do before. Housework is, without a doubt, it is.
Well, I'll have to go away
doubt.
more often, especially when it costs practically nothing. Oh, honey, I do thank you. Well, hello, sweetheart.
Say, wait a minute. What do you mean when you keep saying the trip cost you almost nothing? You made remarks like that before you went away. I meant to ask you what...
Well, of course, there's the plane fare. I mean, I shouldn't call it nothing, but... Oh, listen. If somebody owns some shares of railroad stock, shouldn't they be able to ride free on the railroad? Why'd you shiver like that?
I don't know. One of those sudden feelings you get, sort of a premonition of disaster. For no reason you feel that something is wrong.
One of those things.
Yeah.
What's wrong is that you should be at work. Now I'm home again. Everything is fine, so at least make an appearance at the office, dear.
Yeah. One thing I can say with complete sincerity, darling, I missed you.
Yes, dear. I can see from the looks of the house that you did. But Mommy's home now. Mommy's home.
Mommy's home.
Yes, Mommy's home.
The Couple Next Door stars Peg Lynch and Alan Bunce.
65 years ago, May 23rd, 1960, The Couple Next Door here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have Suspense twice this weekend. Tomorrow, Suspense and Night Watch from 1954. Arch Obler's plays with Peter Lorre. Have Gun Will Travel starring John Daner. And The Couple Next Door will be back again. And we'll see you tomorrow for more Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.